Hey, I'm on the edge of my seat here, back again with another brand new video, and today I'll be no damaging the entirety of the first Silent Hill game on hard difficulty. And unlike the second game, this only has a standard difficulty selection. They don't split the difficulties into action and puzzle. It's just easy, normal, hard. And from what I understand, I don't think the hard difficulty changes up the puzzles much in this game. And on my replay, I actually found that the puzzles in this game were easier to grasp than the ones in the second game. Like, I don't know, I kind of had like a weird impression of like the comparisons between this game and the second game, which I'll get into more later. But right now I have some breaking news. Well, not so much breaking news, but more the fact that in this beginning section, there's actually no way to avoid damage. This beginning section is awesome, by the way. Just so cinematic. It's such a striking intro for the game. Just like, boom. You're just in the shit, like, immediately. Like, the camera starts, like, fucking with you in really cool cinematic ways. And, like, the cinematic camera angles do make it harder to, like, navigate the area. But, like, that's just part of the charm, you know? It's, like, disorientating.
Is that Cheryl?
The one thing is that the voice acting is a bit off in this game. And you could defend it. You could, you know, not defend it, give or take. I do think that the more stilted, weird voice acting doesn't work nearly as well in this game as it does in the second game. But Harry Mason is still a really likable protagonist just because, well, he's just likable. That's kind of the thing. He wants to save his daughter. You know, he's a very earnest, like, you know, helpful person. You know, he navigates the towns of horrors with a good heart. And I don't know if I don't think he's as interesting as, say, some of the characters we get later. Mostly in Silent Hill 2, 3, 4. Though those are the ones I'm mentioning. But he's still, like, a pretty good lead for a horror game. Especially since this one's, like, horror isn't as, like, subdued as, say, the second game. I mean, the third game is still, like, really visceral. But in terms of, like, a very visceral experience, experiencing that through the eyes of a, you know, pretty, like, good guy isn't the worst way to go about it. But yeah, here's what I'm talking about. Like, these camera angles. Like, if you don't know that these camera angles are coming, you're gonna crash into a wall. I mean, I'm pretty sure that during my no damage here, I do end up crashing into walls. And thankfully, crashing into a wall does not make you take damage, because if it did, well, that just ruined the run. Just like the way it uses like light and shadow here on the PS1, like, oh my goodness. And I should probably mention that I am playing the PS3 digital release of this game. It's pretty much like the only way I've played this game beforehand. Though I'm pretty sure most of my playthroughs are actually on the PS Vita, because like the PSP downloadables that you can play on the PS3, you could also transfer to your PSP, but instead of transferring it to my PSP, I transferred it to my PS Vita, which meant I'm pretty sure that my first playthrough of Silent Hill 1, I beat it at like 1 or 3 a.m. on my PS Vita, and it was a incredible time. I'll elaborate more on that later, but boom. I believe this is the only damage that we're forced to take in the entire game. Silent Hill 2 also has like a weird forced damage section, but for Silent Hill 1, it happens at the very beginning, and then boom, we're back into the game. And one of the funny things is that on New Game Plus completely skips like this beginning section of the game. You just start here. So I guess a true, like, you know, no damage run would involve like relying on New Game Plus, but like that moment is so cool, I have to show it off just to kind of like document just how dope this game is. But in terms of documentation, I did miss one thing. Okay, so the strategy here is we're going to get the flashlight. We don't really need the map. I mean, we do need the map. It's very confusing to navigate this place. But if you're doing like a no damage run where you know exactly where to go at all times, you don't really need the map, but you might as well pick it up just in case. So we're going to try to leave, the radio's going to play, and then we're going to get knocked over by a bird creature, which is very aggressive. But you don't actually take damage in this first like scripted bit of combat. You do get knocked down to the ground. And when that happens later on in the game, you do take damage. But in this certain section, no, you do not take damage. As long as you don't let him hit you a second time. And the way they build this card is like, boom, you get knocked down. So yeah, see, I'm fully green, even though you can't fully rely on that. A good rule of thumb is that if you get hit and you see blood coming out of Harry Mason, you took damage, even if like your health is green in the menu. I've had issues with that. Like, I mean, which kind of brings me back to a very important YouTuber I have to shout out, because a lot of his strategies did inform like the way I no damage this game. Carcinogen, his no damage run on hard of Silent Hill 1 for the good plus ending is pretty much like how I was able to kind of strategize with this video. Or rather, I use his strategies to pretty much like push forward in this game. Super helpful, very cracked YouTuber, has made a bunch of no damages on horror games and other media. Go check him out. He's pretty goated. So now I actually have to talk about the notes I took from that. No damaging Silent Hill 2 has taught me the importance of taking notes to remember the directions of where to go, and in Silent Hill 1 I'd say it's more important because the overworld exploration is more demanding usually than the ones in Silent Hill 2. Because the enemies are just like incredibly more aggressive. I feel like in Silent Hill 2, like a lot of the enemies are kind of like passive and submissive, but no. These birds are out to fucking kill you, and they will do it very quickly if you're not like navigating around them or dodging, and this is probably like one of the most challenging sections for avoiding the birds. Like, the birds don't really get more challenging than this beginning section here. Honestly, I'd probably say that Silent Hill 1 front loads a lot of the difficulty with no damaging at the very beginning of the game. But anyways, let me tell you my specific notes I took to make this easier to remember. Okay, so here we go. My notes after exiting the cafe in Silent Hill 1. Go! Step 1. Go right. Go right. Right gate. Step 2. Get key. Left. Right. Straight. Step 3. Get key. Back same way. Left. Straight, but right road. Step 4. Get key. Left. Left. Ammo. Leave left. Straight. Step 5. Doghouse note. It's funny because you have to like get the note that the doghouse exists and is worth checking out before you can actually go to the doghouse and get something, because if you go straight to the doghouse without going to the note first, Harry Mason is just going to be like, oh, it's a normal doghouse. But once you read the note, Harry Mason will actually reach under there and get the key. So getting the note is actually an important process of this whole thing. That's kind of a fun thing with these more like puzzle-centric games, or just rather games which like lock off certain areas with like a code or with like a key or something, is like, what happens if you already know the solution before the game even begins? Can you just cheat the system, cheat the game design and just automatically input the code? I'm pretty sure you can do stuff like that in Deus Ex. But then there's certain games, I mean, a lot of modern games do this, where I guess they'll like code it in such a way where you can't cheese the game like that. Like, you have to go get the note before you can input the code. Or sometimes the code will be randomized, just to kind of like keep you on your toes, forcing you to actually like experience the entire design of their puzzle. Silent Hill is kind of all over the place with that, but that is one example of forcing you to like do the game's objectives. But it's funny I say that because there's actually like something which I completely skipped over because I already know what to do because I'm just replaying the game. In a normal playthrough, the game will actually lead you back to that like hallway where we got massacred by the demon children, because there'll be a clue there on what to do in the game. Because if you don't go there, you won't really have a straight objective for what to do in the game. The straight objective after leaving the cafe is to go back to that place, but if you already know what to do, you can just skip it and just go on to this key quest. We have to like collect the big 3 keys. And anyways, let me go back to my notes. I hope you have your own notepads out and are pretty much taking note of this. I don't know how helpful my notes are going to be for you. I kind of just wrote them for myself, but maybe on context clues and just watching my own playthrough, you can kind of pick up and just no damage the game yourself. Though I don't know if I would force you to do that. It is kind of like suffering, especially the first level of the game. Oh my goodness. Carcinogen's actually like working on doing like a no save, no death, like no damage run. Best of luck to him. Silent Hill 1's like beginning section is probably like one of the most grueling parts of it, and he probably knows that better than I do. But anyways, let me get back to step 5. Doghouse note. Hey, look at that. We already reached the doghouse note. After the doghouse note, leave left. You see how I turn around and like once I'm facing that way, I'm on the left? Boom, yeah. Leave left, straight to doghouse. Yeah, like leave left. I took a left. And then going here, it's going to be straight to the doghouse. And be sure to kill the 2 dogs. I did not put that in my notes, but it is very important. Step 6. Go left after leaving house. Go right, but near left road. Go left, but near right road. Keep going until you can turn right into the school. And also, don't forget, just do not turn right into the sewer entrance because that actually comes before the entrance to the school. Because I made that mistake while doing my no damage runs, and I'm just letting you know, avoid that. It's going to be like the second entrance on the right. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up the notes I have for the beginning section of the key quest. And we're basically almost done. We just have to do like the final steps where we're running around in the darkness. And when we're running around in the darkness, it's probably going to be for the best that you do actually turn your light off. Turning your light off is not going to be as useful as it was in Silent Hill 2, but it still is useful. Like, enemies will be slower to attack. It's just that enemies attack more often, so it won't be as easy as Silent Hill 2 to avoid a lot of the enemies, but it will be a big relief. Mind you, we could not turn off our light before because it was daytime and we just have to be in the day, and enemies will just be as aggressive as they want to be. But at nighttime, we do have this advantage. However, the one advantage is kind of taken away with the fact that the game is genuinely pretty dark to see. Like, I mean, I hope my video is, like, you know, not dark enough that you can kind of make out what I'm doing, but you really have to experience it for yourself and just actually know where you're going, because the game handles darkness pretty well. It's not that easy to see in the game. Like, a lot of the important details get blocked off. Enemies don't pop in until, like, way later. And another thing about the darkness is that I'm pretty sure that the whole idea of, like, the oppressive fog and darkness came from the fact that the PS1's, like, you know, draw distances are not very, like, long, so like the terrain would just be loading right in front of your face if they didn't employ this heavy darkness and fog. And it was kind of a happy accident, but also intentional, because the heavy fog and darkness just makes you feel so claustrophobic, and it just creates a very oppressive, scary environment. And it works beautifully for this game. Like, oh my goodness. And the games afterwards, like Silent Hill 2 and 3, just took advantage of the oppressive fog and darkness again, but with higher graphical fidelity. It was beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Just one of the greats. You gotta love it. But anyways, I mentioned before that there was something about my documentation that I did not keep track of, and it's the fact that I skipped the intro to the game in my video, in like my edit of my No Damage. This game starts out with like a little intro movie that's a collection of cutscenes that are already in the game, but also a collection of unique cutscenes that are only in the intro that give you more context for the beginning of the game, like Harry Mason driving down the road with Cheryl, the policewoman. Wait, is Cheryl the policewoman? Wait, what's the policewoman's name? Let's just call her the policewoman for now until I remember. Oh, Sybil. They both start with C. That's what threw me off. Cheryl, Sybil. Every like good character in this game starts with the letter C, aside from Harry Mason. He starts with H. I don't know how close H is to the letter C. The American education system has failed me. But yeah, no, so Sybil's like chasing Harry Mason down the road. He gets into a crash. That's all in the intro. That doesn't happen when you press new game. So there's actually like context which you could miss if you don't watch the intro movie to the game. And also the music is beautiful, the way it's edited. Like, it's a great vibe. It's epic. It's like foreboding. Akira Yamaoka absolutely kills it on this one, and he continues to kill it with like every single game that comes afterwards. Just amazing composer. Even on the games which people don't like, which I haven't played yet, just, man, go to. He really can do almost no wrong. And I should also mention that this is a segmented no damage run. And since it is a segmented no damage run, I have to mention my notes for the school, which will be the most overwhelming notes of them all. Get your notepads out and like listen carefully to what I have to say, because the school is easily the hardest level in the game by far to no damage. Honestly, if you're not no damaging, maybe this level isn't the hardest per se, but like it's easily the most overwhelming, and it's purely because of those demon children. I hate them so much. It is kind of funny to say that this level is overwhelming as hell, because genuinely, in terms of objectives and like what you have to do in the level, it's not so bad. Like, honestly, the future Silent Hill games, like Silent Hill 2, which I was not expecting, are actually more overwhelming with what you have to do on a moment-to-moment basis. The only reason that this level is so overwhelming is purely on the enemies, because the objectives are actually like pretty simple compared to like the more wacky design of like future entries. Anyways, let me tell you my notes for the school, which are very complicated because you do have to enter a lot of doors here and there, but believe me, the only difficulty comes from the enemies in the room. Honestly, the puzzles are not that bad. I mean, on my fresh playthrough of the game, which I've done, I mean, I've played this game like 3 or 4 times, but like the 3rd or 4th time, that's kind of like a fresh playthrough I've done like years and years after the fact, and it was the first playthrough I beat on hard. I think the hard difficulty in this game is not as like bad or as poorly implemented as, say, the hard action level in Silent Hill 2, because like playing Silent Hill 2, the original Silent Hill 2 on hard, there's like certain moments that feel like complete bullshit that just were not an issue on normal. Like enemies will just not stagger anymore in certain aspects, like certain boss fights, when you hit them with the rifle in Silent Hill 2, they stagger on normal but not on hard. They also go faster, so like they run faster, they don't stagger. They also have a fuck ton more health, like the final boss fights of Silent Hill 2. There's like one chase sequence that's complete bullshit in Silent Hill 2. While with Silent Hill 1 on hard difficulty, the enemy crowding is a bit absurd, especially in this section of the game. Like, anytime there's like 3 to 4 of these things, like in one hallway, it is the most like overwhelming shit imaginable, and I hate it so much. Oh my goodness. But in terms of like the boss fights, the boss fight health bars are just not that big in this game. They're pretty easy to take out if you're like fully equipped to deal with them. And I can't think of any like weird gimmicky section that's like way worse on hard than it would be on normal. So the hard difficulty isn't really that much worse than like the normal difficulty, aside from enemies dealing more damage and so on and so forth. It feels like a more standard hard difficulty. So Yeah, no, the hard difficulty for this game, for the most part, gets a thumbs up for me, but honestly, you're probably better off just playing this on normal on your first playthrough, especially because the overwhelming enemies in this level specifically can be a bit much, let's say that. Anyways, my notes for the school, for navigating the school, get your notepads out, I'm going to tell you the notes right now. Go! Step 1, go across courtyard to front door. Step 2, go right to go upstairs. Step 3, first door, then first door to get chemical. Step 4, first door on left to hand puzzle. Step 5, all the way left, downstairs. Step 6, first left door, courtyard gold. Step 7, all the way left, upstairs. Step 8, first door, all the way down, left door. Step 9, piano. And because I'm not a piano student, or rather I used to be one back like in elementary or maybe like before I reached middle school, but I didn't really like absorb any of it. Here's the way I noted down which piano keys you have to press. Oh my god, my timing is impeccable. Anyways, the piano keys you have to press is 2W, 6W, 5B, 5W, 1B. Because, you know, W means the white key, B means the black key, but if you're actually like a piano person or whatever, you probably call them like C major or G giraffe or something, but I don't know that. I don't know the notation, so I'm just using like 2W, 1B, so just, I hope my notation is helpful because it was helpful for me. But on my fresh playthrough, I thought this puzzle was going to give me a lot more trouble because I thought the poem was going to be a lot more confusing, but no. I guess on a replay, I guess I became a lot smarter because like the poem was pretty straightforward, you know, like there's certain blackbirds and there's certain white birds. White birds are white keys, blackbirds are black keys, and the keys which you have to click are the ones which make a clicking sound, not a piano sound. So just mix all that together and experiment with the order and you'll figure it out. It's not too tough. Honestly, I had a lot more trouble with like Silent Hill 2's puzzles on the hard puzzle difficulty, which I mean, hey, it is the hard puzzle difficulty. When it comes to Silent Hill 2's hard puzzle difficulty, I've got no beef with that besides the fucking T puzzle. Oh my goodness. Watch my video for more context on that. Anyways, let me get back to my notes for the school here. So after step 9, there is step 10. All the way right, downstairs. Step 11, straight door, courtyard silver. Step 12, all the way left, downstairs, generator. Step 13, upstairs, first door. And there I'm breathing in. And step 13.5, my own save, because Carcinogen's like no damage video of the hard difficulty in this game, I guess he was still trying to practice like a no save, no damage run because he only saves like 4 or 5 times throughout the entirety of his 2-hour and 45-minute run, which is insanity. I am not going to do that. I'm going to do 20 saves. So anytime like something gets a little bit too complicated, I'm going to like insert a save for like my own sanity. And inserting saves in this school section was probably like the most important saves I could do because the school section is like easily the most demanding to no damage just because of the enemy density and the enemy type. Because honestly, the hospital later on is like surprisingly easy because the nurses are surprisingly easy to just kind of like destroy or just run past. Like they are not hard enemies. These enemies are just absolutely brutal. These demon children, I hate them so much. Like, ugh. Anyways, back to my notes. So after step 13.5, there is step 14, courtyard clock, evil world. Step 15, right, straight, get ammo. Step 16, first left door, fast. Step 17, straight first right door. Step 18, left door, get yellow card. Step 19, turn light off and walk along right wall to door. Step 20, straight, kill them all, last left door. Step 21, key door, first door, bathrooms. The reason I only say bathrooms is because I feel like the bathroom section in the Hell world is pretty self-explanatory. We're not there yet, my timing isn't exactly perfect. But there's like this whole gimmick, like in the Hell world, where you enter like the girls' bathroom, and then you exit it, and like doing that actually teleports you to the second floor. And once you're on the second floor, you can go to the boys' bathroom, get some ammo there. Then you re-enter the girls' bathroom, which teleports you back to the first floor. And then on the first floor, you go to the boys' bathroom there, and there's going to be a shotgun for you. But you can teleport to get more shotgun ammo and just more ammo in general, just to be better equipped with a shotgun later for the boss fight of the level. So that's why I only said bathrooms in my notes for step 21. Anyways, step 22, shotgun, last left door, no light forward. Step 23, shoot the cockroach. So like by the time you're in step 23 and you're in that specific room, there's going to be one cockroach in the room, and it's the room where you get the spooky phone call. Kill the cockroach because the cockroach will still be trying to attack you during the cutscene of trying to get the phone call, and it's just an absolute nuisance. Also, there's going to be certain moments where I'm going to have to turn my light off and do a little bit of sneaking. I will say that the notes I have written down and what I did in this video are a little bit different because honestly, there's like certain sections that are so fucked that I kind of improvise every now and then, so I hope you're able to pick up on that. Anyways, back to my notes. Step 24, straight, left door, ball, right. Step 25, upstairs 3rd floor, use ball. Step 26, downstairs 1st floor, kill, straight door. Step 27, kill them all, right door, get key. Step 27.5, my own save. So I kind of put a little save file here just for like my own sanity, because if I didn't, I would have had to do like the entire level in one go. See, that's like one moment where I had to like improvise. I was kind of fucking around with the demon children trying to get past them. No, actually, I'm not sure this was improvisation. No, this seems like improvisation. Like, no, that was like more of a weird plan, a weird like navigation plan where I kind of like go straight into darkness, then I strafe right to get around the second child, then I go forward and I have to go into the hallway on the left. So yeah, like this is the point where I have to use the key card, but I did a very specific movement thing. Study that clip because it's the way I did it. That's not the way Carcinogen did it. Carcinogen just killed all the enemies in that room. I instead like wanted to kill all the children in other rooms. Also, if you hear construction work happening, yeah, that is happening. Your ears do not deceive you. I did not edit that in. I mean, I hope my mic isn't picking it up, but it is pretty loud. I mean, I have headphones on and I'm like still like hearing it. So, you know, apologies for that, but nothing much I can do about it. The construction has to happen. Anyways, back to my steps. So I think I'm gonna actually like repeat myself here. So step 26, downstairs, 1st floor, kill, straight door. Step 27, kill them all, right door, get key. Step 27.5, my own save. Step 28, left, upstairs, last door right. Step 29, kill them all. Step 30, nice room. Nice room indicating that there's no enemies in there and I can kind of just, you know, not be stressed about things. And then after the nice room, straight, kill them all, including cockroaches. Now that hallway is a fucking menace. Like, that one hallway in the hell school with the one demon child and the 2 cockroaches is hell. I was about to vomit there. My goodness, the little hiccups are crazy. And the fucking cockroaches can respawn even if you kill them all. Or the demon child. They're assholes. I really should not do the grumbly voice because it just activates like my hiccuping like symptoms. This might be the hallway I'm referring to. Let's see. Nope, that is not the hallway I'm referring to. That is the ball. That's where I get the ball in the previous step. Very, very nice. So anyways, back to my notes. Oh, I think I've actually like inflicted myself with the hiccups, and going up the stairs is a little bit challenging. You kind of have to like swerve and like break that little boy's ankles in order to like, get past him. Or he'll break your fucking ankles with a knife. So anyways, let me repeat myself. Step 30, nice room, straight, kill them all, including cockroaches. Last right door. Step 31, silly locker. Left straight down. Step 32, straight, turn off light and sneak. But this part is tricky and I don't like it. So once we reach the part which I'm referring to in step 32, I'm probably going to do like some weird improvisation where I'm trying to like, you know, walk around in the dark and like hug the walls. But at some point, there's probably going to be an enemy like on the wall. So I'm going to like move diagonally and hope for the best. And in that run, my hope paid off. But, you know, it's a bit tricky and like improvisational. And if it's your first time trying to no damage the game or just first time playing the game, it might be a bit fucking weird to do in the moment. But that's what I mean when I say that this part is tricky and I don't like it. So, yeah, no, moving on. Step 33, straight down, first blue door. Step 34, kill them all, last left door. Step 35, safe rooms, first left door. Step 36, no light and walk. Step 36. Step 37. Left downstairs to first floor. Step 37.5. My own save. And the thing about my own save is that on my most recent walkthrough, I didn't know that like the huge gate in between the hallway and the staircase that leads to the basement in the Hell School could be unlocked from a convenient save point. So on my fresh like playthrough I did like in my walkthrough series, I just had to do the boss fight in one take. Though I wasn't doing no damage then. I was just fighting the boss fight normally, but I just didn't know that door could be unlocked because it didn't really look like a door. It just looked like a big hell gate that I couldn't get past. Ooh. Those hiccups are just brutal now. They do not want me to explain that point. Anyways, step 38. Basement. Left door, right door. Step 39. Step 39 is just like a little valve puzzle, which on my first playthrough, I just kind of fucked around with it until I solved it. I did not know what the logic of it was, but I just kind of kept fucking around until I solved it. Like the Silent Hill series sometimes has puzzles. Sometimes have puzzles where it's just solve it, just kind of keep fucking around with it, and maybe you'll get it, even if you don't understand the logic of it. And that feels like one of them. I just never got the logic of that one. But the solution is just on the right valve, you do that left 2 times. And on the left valve, you do that right 1 time. And that opens the door to the boss fight. And then after the boss fight step 40 is the boss fight. And then step 41 is saving at the school bus on the right when you're exiting the school and you're like in the normal world. Or as normal as the foggy-ass Silent Hill with monsters could be. And the thing about the bus is that, once again, on my most recent playthrough, I did not notice that you could actually like enter the bus outside the school and save in there. It kind of reminds me of the motorhome in Silent Hill 2. Like, I really like the motorhome location in Silent Hill 2. The bus, I don't like it as much, but still, it's kind of like a cozy safe point, kind of realistic. Anyways, I'm pretty sure this is the hallway, which has the fuck-ass cockroaches and the fuck-ass enemy. And the worst thing about it is that since this game doesn't have like precise aiming, you pretty much have to like pray. You have to pray that like Harry Mason locks onto the cockroaches and shoots them. Like, if they get too close to you and like you haven't locked onto them, the thing I like to do is just reset the room. I just like exit and enter just to try again until I actually get the cockroaches before, you know, they come and attack me. Anyways, here's the silly locker room. I'm gonna take a little break and let you check this out. I probably should have given a jump scare warning for that, but it's just like a neat little scare the game does, because like you can visit this locker room in the normal game, and all that appears is like a cat jumping out. In fact, I have a cat right behind me. It's a very lazy cat behind me on the chair. That has nothing to do with the game though. But then when you go to the Hell World, boom, it's like a bloody locker, but no jump scare though. It kind of like builds one up and nothing happens, then boom, the game scares you immediately after. So yeah, here's one of the stealth sections I have to do in the game. Let's see if I'm able to get past this like normally. Nope, cannot get past this normally, so I kind of start backing away from the demon child that's like just hugging the wall like an asshole for no reason. Like, okay, so just enemies, like turning off the light allows you to like activate a sort of stealth element in the game where you can kind of like sneak past enemies if you have the light turned off and are walking. Because when you start running, the enemies kind of start like to hone in on your position. And well, from what Carcinogen has said, that when you're running and in the darkness, enemies will try to attack you, but they'll attack slower if in the darkness. So that is kind of the thing there. So it still has its advantages, just nowhere near as overpowered as it is in Silent Hill 2, where, you know, turning off the light just makes certain enemies not attack you, or it just kind of makes avoiding certain attacks easier, like with the leg monsters, where you can kind of like bait out the attack and then run past them. Anyways, these 2 rooms here, super safe. I love these rooms. These rooms have no enemies, nothing to be worried about, nothing to be stressed about, nothing to like, you know, manage or sneak through. Just very simple. Run through here, read a book if you want, grab some bullets. Love that, love that. However, the one thing that's annoying about the design of that room is that you have to like grab the bullets and then go back downstairs to that door, because that door is the one you have to go through. Yeah, anyways, here is the classroom. We're gonna have to do a little bit of sneaking here, just because like for some of these rooms I did kind of slaughter all the demons, but for some of these other rooms I kind of have to sneak past, you know, not really for saving ammo, just more because like it just really isn't feasible to like destroy all the enemies in the room because there's just too many of them. Like just like 4 of them just like crowd around you, like trying to, well, you're trying to shoot one of them, the other 3 will just immediately be like crowding around your position. Anyways, we're about to come up on the gate, which I did not think was openable. Because I just thought there was no way to go to a safe point before the boss fight, but no, you can. And there we go. I'm actually experimenting with this decision right now because the safe point is kind of risky because you're still going into enemy territory while trying to go to the safe point. And I wasn't sure if I was going to remember the exact directions to get to the safe point, but no, I did. The school's design is just a big square, so if you kind of keep in mind where you are at all times, you know, going around in that big square with certain rooms, you're not bound to get lost. Honestly, you're probably bound to get more lost in, say, the hospital if it's your first time playing and you don't have a map. I'm not even sure if that's true, because see, here's the thing. So, the amount of steps I had to, like, speak out for the school section is precisely because of the way it's designed and also all the enemies. Like, it's a much bigger area than, say, like, the hospital. The hospital is, like, very straightforward. It's just, like, hallway, all the important rooms are in the hallway, or maybe, like, one room in the hallway will just lead to, like, another hallway, so on and so forth. While here, it's a big school, you know, it's got a big square, like, design with a courtyard in the middle, and you have to pretty much, like, navigate that. Then there's a second floor of that. The third floor is just a roof, and then there's a basement, but all that becomes very complicated, especially with the way they like lay out puzzle items and key items and just collecting all that and trying to like go to like the most what's the word? I don't know. There's a good word for this. Like just the best way forward. Like trying to route that is difficult. And I'm sure like Carcinogen had some trouble doing that, just like the speed runners before him, and just I don't know, I feel like no damaging might have like some similarities with speedrunning, where it might be more of a community sport more than anything, because like one person's strats become adopted by the entire community, and then like, you know, another person like using those same strats might do other strats, so on and so forth. The experimentation and just the learning, just like the communal benefit we get from other people's like no damages, like speed runs, so on and so forth, is very much felt. And I hope this contributes to that in some positive way. But one thing which I really, so yeah, I'm kind of getting lost in what I want to say here, but the point is the amount of notes I have to take, the amount of steps I have to say to like do the school section is absurd. I don't think any other section of the game is going to require more than 20 steps. However, I do think I wrote down steps and notes for like pretty much every single section in this game, aside from like maybe 1 or 2 tiny sections, just because like I wanted to make sure I was always going in the right direction. Anyways, this boss fight just kind of like irks me. So I'm going to do the Carcinogen strategy where like for the beginning of this fight, I'm going to waste pistol ammo instead of shotgun ammo by just going behind him and just like unloading the pistol. And don't get too close to this creature, because if you get too close to this creature, it'll actually start turning around instead of like going the way it is. We want it to stay going the way it is until we reach the second phase, so just keep shooting it until it like kind of stops and the music shifts. Once it stops and the music shifts, you're going to switch over to the shotgun, and we're going to pretty much like kind of strafe on over. Boom, we're going to strafe on over here to the gaping mouth. So most of the attacks it's going to do in the second phase is going to be like its one-hit kill open mouth move. However, it's not the only attack it can do, because I'm pretty sure I was seeing like a no damage video or like a no damage guide for Silent Hill 1 that like incorrectly states that, you know, every single attack this boss fight will do in this phase is a one-hit kill. No, it can slightly bump into you and that will still deal a little bit of damage. And boy, does that frustrate the fuck out of me, because like, you know, if you don't position yourself well, or if the boss fight's just feeling like peckish or something, it'll just like bump your head against like your player body, and like you'll kind of like shiver a little bit or like shake a bit from the impact. And I'm pretty sure that does deal damage, and I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, I failed so many attempts precisely because of that. Because I don't know exactly how to like make them do like the one-hit kill, like open mouth attack. I'm pretty sure like this attempt I was actually going to give up. I was just kind of like spamming the shotgun for dear life. And you know what? It actually worked. But man, it just really annoyed me. And there was no way I was going to be able to do this boss fight in one take along with the entire level. Like, I had to like go to a save point before going here. Like, just, I had to. I really did have to. Oh my goodness, it annoyed me so much. But I don't think any other step or like notes I'm going to mention are going to be more than 40 steps. So I don't think like the rest of this video is going to be as wordy with information as those sections. Anyways, there was something which I really wanted to mention at the very beginning of this video, which I forgot to mention. And it's like when you're chasing Cheryl and she's like walking through the fog, the way they do the effect of seeing your daughter through the fog is kind of neat. It's like she's a different shade of white pixels compared to like the white grayish pixels of the fog. Like, if you really pay attention to like beginning like, you know, force damage chase sequence before you enter like the sick ass hallways with the cinematic cameras, like, I think you'll understand what I mean. It's a really nice effect. Honestly, it is very pixelaty, but it is a neat effect. I do like it. And also, when it comes to no damaging this game, there was this thing which I tried to get away with, or rather, I tried to get like confirmation that maybe I didn't take damage in this one thing. It's a little bit weird. Let me further explain it. So in one of my failed attempts in like the key quest section of this game in the beginning, we were collecting the 3 keys. I had a recording where I was at a police car and I got the key there and I dodged one flying enemy. Then another flying enemy hit me. And I checked like my status screen, you know, my inventory screen, and my health was still like solid green. And I was just kind of like, hold up, wait a minute. If my health is solid green, does that mean I have 100% health? Like, I was under the assumption that my health would only change color if it went down from 100%. So I started asking around like whether the solid green state 100% meant like 100% health, or if you could have a solid green state and have, say, 90% health or 85% health. And honestly, I mean, I was like checking the game manuals to kind of get more information on this. Like, I went on YouTube and just looked at someone like unboxing Silent Hill 1, like the American copy, like the manual there, just to see if the manual had some sort of clue to, you know, how the health system works in this game, whether the solid green gradient meant 100% health. And it did not give me any like solid information there. And then I saw there was like a PAL menu, and I checked that YouTube video of that one, and that one was way cooler than like the US one. Like, oh my goodness, like the PAL game manual for Silent Hill 1 just has like a lot more color and pop and more information than the US one, like the NTCX one. Now, what do I mean by NTCX and PAL like versions of these games? Well, back when America and Europe existed, well, they still do, but back when their different like TVs like really mattered, there was like this whole debacle where like, you know, the NTSCS like TVs could do 60 FPS, like 60 hertz, while the PAL TVs could only do 50 hertz. And well, pretty much what it just means is like the American release of the game, the European release of the game. And in Europe, they got a way cooler manual than the American one. But it still did not give me enough information about how the health system worked in this game. So I was just kind of at a loss. I was like, oh man. But another thing to note is that during all this, I did not realize that I could just, you know, go into my PlayStation menu while playing my PS3 digital release of Silent Hill 1, and they digitally had like the manual there. I did not know that. I was like looking all over the place online to find a manual of the original game. I had it the whole time on my PS3. So that was a little bit of foolishness for me. But yeah, the confirmation I got from all the people I talked to, including Carcinogen, is that if you get hit and there's blood coming out of Mason, yeah, you got hit. Like, you're just gonna have to like take the L and move on. So I did. But that was just kind of like a funny little occurrence that happened to me very early on while trying to no damage this game. Anyways, I gotta get back to my notes. For this section of the game after the school, it won't be 40 steps, but there's still a lot of steps to talk about. So let's get to it. So yeah, notes for bus onwards. Go! Step 1. Go straight across the bus to turn left street. Step 2. Go right into house. Step 3. Go across street to rightish. Step 4. Turn left. Turn left. Step 5. Turn right, straight to church. Step 6. Turn right at gas, but I enter the gas place. I mean, like, originally I wasn't planning on entering the gas place, but I ended up doing it anyways. The reason you wouldn't want to enter the gas place, I don't think we're there yet, is because, like, you could kill the dogs which are, like, roaming outside the gas place, but when you exit the gas place, the dogs have a chance of respawning. I don't think that happened for me, or wherever the dogs were positioned, it wasn't really that big of an issue, but that's the reason why you wouldn't want to go in there. All it gives you is, like, I think a little extra bit of shotgun ammo or a little bit extra bit of handgun ammo, so, you know, there is a reward for going in there, but you don't necessarily have to go in there. And also, it's kind of a time waste because, like, the loading times in this game are pretty absurd. I have heard that the PS3 digital release of this game, I mean, these are just Carcinogen's words. These are Carcinogen's words, where this version of the game is kind of laggy and has a bit of input delay, so that might be part of the long-ass load times, but it does feel like maybe these long-ass load times were like a PS1 classic sort of thing. But yeah, no, load times are pretty long in this game, so whenever you like enter or exit a building, it takes a little while to kind of get going. And I decided to keep them in there. I didn't want to like edit them. I didn't want to like edit them out. I wanted to kind of like keep the game's like recording as a physical object onto itself, like unaltered. On some case, aside from the segmentation. The segmentation, I kind of like segmented those things together by pretty much combining the saving and the loading of the saves into one big thing. I think it makes for like a pretty seamless experience, I would hope. Anyways, back to my steps. So, after step 6, there is step 7. Turn right for ammo. Step 8. Turn left. Straight, but right street, and turn right. Step 9. Go to right side of bridge after long enough. Step 10. Straight, left to police station, save. Now, Carcinogen does go to the police station, like in his route, but I don't think he saves there. I do end up saving just to kind of make things easy for me. He could probably save in this little location. I really like these little save rooms that are just randomly thrown around Silent Hill. Oh my goodness, okay. One area which I really love in this game, which I just do not visit because when you're no damaging the game, there's no reason to visit it, is the convenience store place. Oh, I love that place, dude. It's got great vibes. I don't even think there's any enemies in there. It's just a weird abandoned convenience store. I fuck with it heavy. It does have some healing. It does have some healing potions, and I think maybe one medkit or two. So if you're playing the game normally, it's a great location to go visit, just to get some more healing items. But since I'm doing a no damage run, healing items are completely pointless. I just want ammo, and I don't think that area had any ammo. It's at the very beginning of the game during the key quest, but man, I love the convenience store. It's got a great vibe. I really love those type of little save room areas. So yeah, just wanted to mention that one out, but you're never gonna see it in this video because there's never a reason to go. There's never a reason to go to it if you're just no damaging or speedrunning the game. Sadly. In my Silent Hill 2 no damage, the reason I keep bringing it up is because I no damaged that game before this one. I was kind of originally planning on no damaging this one first, but I think no damaging Silent Hill 2 actually prepped me more for this game because Silent Hill 2's levels, puzzles were more complicated and just objectives, but the enemy, combat encounters were easier aside from just the boss fights, which have a fuck ton of health. While this game, the normal enemy encounters are way harder, but the puzzles and objective sort of stuff is easier to kind of grasp most of the time. So yeah, no. But the reason I mention this because in my Silent Hill 2 no damage video, I did spend a good amount of time talking about other books or sources which influence Silent Hill 2. I'm not really going to do that too much in this video, but I did see the Silent Hill 1 movie, which came out after the first 4 games release, which is just kind of makes it a weird artifact to talk about because it really is kind of an amalgamation of, honestly, it just kind of steals a bunch of shit from 2, but it's kind of the plot of 1, and there's some unique OCs thrown in there just for the hell of things, and Sean Baker's there doing fuck all. He has one of the funniest characters. It's just a random dude doing some detective work, which just ends up revealing shit we already knew from watching the movie. That movie is very, very okay. That movie kind of goes hard on mute. But I don't want to suggest that Akira Yamaoka's score, which is used throughout the entire movie, is bad. It's just the dialogue. A lot of the characters just over-explain the fuck out of everything. They really should have just let certain things just sit there and lie, or just let people be confused because oh, I hate these monkeys. Ah, monkey. Ah! And also the police station on my fresh playthrough I done recently. I didn't know you could enter it because I tried to enter through there and it was locked and I was kind of well, I guess I can't enter there. But no, if you go to the side of the building and enter it through a door which looks exactly the same, then you can enter it. I didn't know that. What the fuck? That was crazy. This feels way too obtuse. But to be fair, the only thing which you're going to be missing is a little bit of extra ammo and a nice save point. But holy shit, I completely missed this area on my fresh playthrough because I just thought it was impossible to enter. It's oh, locked door? I guess I'm going to give up now and not enter any other entrance ways. Because it's not the Silent Hill 1 map in the overworld shows you all the entrances to the police station, say the maps for the school or the hospital. So you just wouldn't think to check there. But yep, do be sure to check there and you will get more ammo, which will be useful for the game. But I just didn't know. It's oh my goodness. So anyways, back to the Silent Hill movie. So yeah, no, it's just kind of a weird, kind of fanfiction-ish version of Silent Hill 1's plot. And I think one of the weirder aspects is just trying to make what's her name? Dahlia, a good person in the movie, because in the game she's she's probably one of the most evil characters in the entire franchise, but in the movie they kind of make her oh, I'm so sad that I had to burn my daughter. Oh, they forced me to do it. And they just introduce a brand new cult leader that's just basically just Dahlia again. So I don't really get the whole point of it. It was kind of a whole little motherhood theme. It's oh man, she thinks you're her mammy. It was kind of cringe, I'm not gonna lie. But the movie's visual style looks really great. I mean, one of the coolest things about the movie is that the director who directed it is a huge fan of the games. You can kind of just feel that. There's a lot of reverence for the game's locations, kind of vibe, just just like influences. You can kind of see that in the way the movie's structured. But also the movie is kind of like one of the biggest culprits of shoving the Pyramid Head and the nurses from Silent Hill 2 in fucking everything, even if they don't make any sense. So, like, yeah, that was very, very much like a specific thing to James. Like, the bottlehead nurses, like the bubblehead nurses and Pyramid Head were very specific to James as a character. So just seeing them randomly pop up here was pretty stupid. But the cool thing is that it is kind of like a cool performance of the characters. Like the nurses in that first Silent Hill 1 movie, like they hired professional dancers so they could actually contort their bodies in really cool, fucked up ways. Like that attention to detail, I like that. I don't like their inclusion in the movie, but their actual performance and like design and just like visuals look really good. The movie did also kind of like start a thing with Pyramid Head. Like it looks good in the movie, but Pyramid Head in the original Silent Hill 2 game is not like a muscular ass dude. He has weird fucking like I don't know, fucking Oogie Boogie arms. Like he looks like a weird cloth monster. While in the movie, my man is shredded as fuck. Like he's so shredded he just rips the skin off of someone like it's a blanket. I mean, maybe Pyramid Head is still like super strong in the original game, but he does not look like it. I mean, he carries big ass spears. He has to be strong. He carries a big ass blade, but his actual body looks like less human than it does in the movie. And hey, I guess like copying that same clothy effect in the movie probably would have been a pain in the ass. Anyways, before I start yapping about the Silent Hill 1 movie, I should probably yap about the hospital instead, because we are right here in the hospital. And also, I have specific notes from like the police station to the hospital. So yeah, let me talk about that now. Actually, before I talk about those notes, there's something which I forgot to mention when I was exiting the bus. When I was exiting the bus and I was at the loading screen, like the little loading zone there, the black screen, you could hear like a notification sound play for me being signed out of my OneDrive while I'm exiting the bus. Like, it's absurd it happened while I was recording. I'm pretty sure the reason it happened is in OBS, I was recording this game on my PS3 with like my Elgato, and that's like, that has its own like audio source, like video capture device audio source. Desktop audio source is another capture device, and I wasn't really using desktop audio because, you know, all the audio was coming from the game. But I think the little notification noise which came up when it told me, hey, you're signed out of OneDrive, was desktop audio, and I had that turned up to like 4, and that's why that specific sound plays. Anyways, there's a really fucking good scare in here. I mean, it's kind of like unintentional. I mean, you can kind of just stumble across it. There's just a cockroach on top of like one of the tables here. Let's see if I run into him. Where am I going? I'm kind of lost in this. Like, Let's see, the cockroach is like getting off the table. Man, I hate that. Oh, I love that. I love it, but I hate it. Oh my goodness. So yeah, watch out for the cockroaches. One of the biggest improvements Silent Hill 2 made is that when you have the light turned off, the cockroaches will never attack you. Silent Hill 1, that is not the case. They fucking hate you. They will attack you. However, one thing about Silent Hill 1 compared to Silent Hill 2 is that I don't think you can shoot the cockroaches in Silent Hill 2, or rather, there's never a situation where you would want to like shoot the cockroaches in Silent Hill 2. Or it might just be impossible, because like in Silent Hill 2, you can kind of just run up to a cockroach and just stomp it on the ground without shooting it. So maybe they got rid of the ability to shoot it, who knows, but you never really have to if you're following certain strategies, if you have the light turned off, so on and so forth. If you stomp it before it can get you, though honestly that is very risky, because like I think the cockroaches are even faster in Silent Hill 2 than they are in Silent Hill 1. I might be wrong, might be right on that. Double check me on that information, but now that I've said all that, notes for the police station, to safe point in hospital, go! Step 1, straight to right side. Straight to hospital. Step 2, gun scene. That's a scene with the doctor guy, the Kaufman, I think he's called. But yeah, step 2, gun scene. Right, far left, left. Step 3, blue key, bottle, red juice, generator. I really should mention that in that beginning section where I got the bottle from the kitchen and I picked up the red juice with the bottle, like, you know, go back if you must. That's very important for getting the good plus ending in this game. There's 3 very important things you have to do to get the good plus ending in this game, which is the best ending you can possibly get out of everything in the game. So it's very important you do those 3 things. That's one of the things. You have to get the bottle, get the red juice, have that in your inventory for later. So, you know, be prepped for that. I probably should have put more emphasis on that because it is a very important thing you have to do. So anyways, let me move on with my steps. So yeah, after step 3, there's step 4, which I've already done in the video. That's take the elevator to the 2nd floor, the 3rd floor, and then the 4th floor. But on the 2nd and 3rd floor, you have to go check the door, see that it's locked, then go back to the elevator, go to the 3rd floor, see that the door is locked, go back to the elevator. Then magically, you can go to the 4th floor. Then things get all spooky and scary and And then step 5, Go down to 3rd floor. First right door. Step 6. All the way right. First right door. Step 7. Straight second to last door. Step 8. Elevator, 1st floor. Second left door, and save. Oh, I felt like a little bit of a pukish thing going up there. Ooh. This game's graphics are making me go ugly. Oh. I really love the way this game looks, by the way. Honestly, I think the only way the visuals have aged is in the cutscenes, because like the cutscene framing and presentation, like it gets more like cinematic and just more masterfully done later on in the franchise. Like, I mean, starting from 2nd game onwards. In the 1st game, there's some really great moments, but there's also like a lot of stilted moments just with the way the characters are framed, just like with the models being so pixelated, they can't really like do much with their expressions or like with their body language. Like and also this is also kind of the fault that a lot of cutscenes in this game do kind of like devolve into like really big info dumps. I think like Silent Hill 2 and 3, I mean 3 has some pretty big info dumps too, but there's a lot more personality going on with the characters. I mean, and part of that is due to their amazing like facial expressions. Silent Hill 3 is probably like one of the best looking games of all time, especially for the era, one of the best looking PS2 games, if not the best looking PS2 game. And the character models are like insanely detailed in Silent Hill 3, so that's a whole other thing. But like in Silent Hill 2, like a lot of the dialogue avoids info dumps just because like the way characters talk, they don't know what they're talking about a lot of the time. Like they're so confused and like foggy, and it just kind of makes you like think more about what they're saying. It just makes things more engaging. While here, a lot of the conversations can be pretty straightforward. I mean, Harry Mason, he's a pretty straightforward guy. Sybil, there's nothing wrong with Sybil. She's just a police officer. Some of the other characters are a little bit more interesting. Like Kaufman's a bit of a shady individual, but you do kind of get that like straight from like the onset. Kaufman's a pretty shady individual. I mean, if it's hard to interpret anything in this game, it's just Kaufman. Like, it's kind of hard to like pinpoint what exactly he gets from all this, because he's such like a weird character. He doesn't like you. He kind of likes the main cult, but not really, because he doesn't want to be used at the end. So it's just kind of weird what the fuck his goals are. He's kind of involved with the drug problem in Silent Hill 1. The drug like subplot in this game. So I mean, it's kind of like I guess it's mostly a good thing that a lot of this game is very cryptic and ambiguous. No, not ambiguous per se, but like cryptic and obtuse. Like some of the biggest plot points are revealed in optional memos that you can easily miss. So like sometimes you'll like enter a cutscene, especially in the climax, where a lot of things are going to be happening and you won't really have the strongest grasp on what those things are unless you read a memo and kind of understood what the memo was going for. Like, you know, the way the magic works in this. Well, the way the magic works is kept mostly obtuse because over-explaining that would probably get pretty boring. But yeah, no. So it's kind of hard to like get emotionally connected to the story of this game, despite the fact that this game has some really great emotional moments. Because like, I mean, I think a lot of the big plot points might be a little bit too info dumped onto you, or they're literally hiding in an info dump somewhere, like in a memo you can kind of like find somewhere. Anyways, we've reached the part where I have to talk about my notes with the hospital, so oh my goodness, I gotta talk about notes on hospital. Go! Step 1, all way left. 2nd floor, first left door. Step 2, last left door, first left door going right. Step 3, blue top right, aqua kiwami bottom right, yellow bottom left, red top left. That is this puzzle in particular. I do not put the tiles in that specific order, but that's how I wrote it down in my notes to kind of like get a better, you know, grasp of everything. I decided to read the poem there. Poem is pretty straightforward. As long as you remember that that gray tile is not an empty tile, that tile is already put in there. In my fresh playthrough, this door kind of confused me because I thought like the gray tile, like, you know, in the left middle, I thought that was empty. I thought I had to get like another tile, but no, you don't. That's already filled in. It just doesn't look like it's filled in because gray doesn't look like a filled in color. So, you know, as long as you keep that in mind, this puzzle is pretty easy. Though it is kind of cumbersome to kind of like insert every single tile like individually, having to go into inventory every single time. So yeah, now that we've done that step, we need to move on to another step now. So step 4, straight door, first door turning left. Step 5, first door turning right, far right door. Step 6, far right door, elevator to basement. Step 7, second right door, do fire puzzle. Step 8, first left door, last left door. Step 9, get key, far right, far right. Step 10, straight right door, right door. Step 11, last right door on the left. Step 12, straight save. And by that point, you'll have completed the hospital. Like, wow. The hospital is actually like surprisingly easy. I mean, I was just kind of like, I kind of had my expectations like raised by no damaging Silent Hill 2 first, where that game's hospital did become a lot more complicated than the apartments, but in this game, no. The school is like a lot more demanding. It's just like because the hospital's designed, like all the important rooms are so close to each other that if you know what you're doing and you know to which rooms to go to specifically, this whole thing becomes a lot more of a breeze than like the school, which just feels a little bit more inconvenient to navigate. I mean, like, it's a hospital, you know, we have to save people here. So, like, if they base the design of this place, like, on realistic, like, layouts of hospitals, then it makes sense why this level feels so convenient to navigate. I could not say the same of the Silent Hill 2 hospital. I mean, maybe that hospital is just bigger or something, but, like, wow. This one really is not so bad. I mean, the enemies are easy for one. Like, the nurses, they're very slow to attack. And also, Carcinogen said this, so, you know, take his word for it. Whenever the nurses grab you, they don't damage you until, like, another nurse, like, attacks you with a knife. So even their grab attack is useless. So, like, even if they grab you, you can just break out of it and take no damage. So, it's freaking sweet, because, like, the previous enemies, they grab you and they kill you in 5 seconds. So, you know, it's a big difficulty tweak for the easier. And I'm not even that mad about it, but I was just kind of surprised that that was the case, you know? Like, I just didn't think it'd be like that. I also want to drop the movie a little bit, just drop some knowledge about the movie, that the protagonist of the Silent Hill 1 movie kind of like takes notes or like directions in the same way I do. Like there's this big climactic moment where she's like exploring a hospital. She's like, oh, left, right, left. That's the same shit I was doing for Silent Hill 2 and 1. So, you know, that was just kind of fun to see. I kind of felt like maybe that was included because the directors played the game so many times that like he also maybe like wrote down directions like, oh, left, right, you know, because like these games do end up being like pretty labyrinthian, and also like the way they fuck with like physical space. Like Silent Hill 1, like from the very beginning, like there's just certain rooms that just teleport you to other floors of the space, like, and the final level of this game just like makes no sense as a physical space. It's just like a bunch of doors which teleport you to other doors and like other like places and like the past levels. It's awesome. I'm actually surprised that like the final level isn't nearly as confusing as I thought it would be. I mean, on the first time playthrough, on a fresh playthrough, it's confusing, but honestly, it was more manageable than I was expecting. But one of the most alarming things about the final level, which I didn't know until I did my fresh playthrough again, is that you don't get a map. You just straight up don't get a map for nowhere because there's just nowhere isn't really like a logical place. It's a combination of a bunch of bullshit like strung together, which can fling you from the second floor to the third floor to the so on and so forth. But I was under the impression that if I get a map for the hospital, I would have a map for nowhere. Nope, that is not the case. Even if you get a map for the hospital, you don't get a map for nowhere. Because on my very first playthrough, I actually missed getting the map for the hospital because like the way you have to get it, you have to like go through like an optional door, which I just forgot to go through. And I had to like, on my first playthrough, I had to like do the entire hospital section without a map. You know, back in the day, back when I was in college, back when I was playing it on my PS Vita. And it was great. And then when I reached the final level and like it was reusing most of the stuff from the hospital, I was like, oh, because I didn't get the map for the hospital, I don't get a map for the final level. Oh my goodness, this is very stressful. It was awesome. It was like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and I was like, it was very tense, like frightening little like finale. And I fucked with it heavy. But no matter what you do, you don't get a map for nowhere from what I understand. And like on my fresh playthrough, I was under the impression that I was going to get a map eventually, but that's just not the case. Anyways, I'm going to get this jackhammer, which is a great melee weapon to use against the nurses. Honestly, if I reroute this, which I won't, I would probably go to get this hammer quicker because like using it against the nurses is super useful. Like, the melee combat in this game is clunky. I mean, hey, melee combat in Silent Hill, like 1, 2, 3, and probably 4 as well, are all clunky by design and limitation. It's both. But against like the nurses and doctors, using that jackhammer is really useful. Now using melee weapons against like the demon children in the school, completely useless. And also the knife just does not help at all because like, and just like the demon children, their main attack is the grab attack, and it just happens instantaneously. There's no like baiting it out and then dodging around them like say some of the enemies you could do that to in Silent Hill 2. They just grab you. Once you grab you, it's done. You took damage, it's over. They have a knife attack which comes out absurdly fast. It's just, I don't like anything about those demon children. At the very least, the nurses, like whenever they grab you, you don't take damage, and any attacks they do are very slow. And you can also hit them with a big jackhammer. I mean, I don't even know if it's called the jackhammer. It's just the big emergency hammer, and it's like the best melee weapon in the game. And I got some use out of it on my fresh playthrough, but for no damage, you can kind of just either run past them or just shoot them dead, and you'll be fine. Anyways, we're done with the hospital, but there was this thing which I really wanted to mention, but before I mention that thing, I should probably talk about my notes from this point on to the game to the next part of the game. So anyways, how to reach the antique shop. Go! Step 1, go across the street. Step 2, go left, go right at cafe, then across the street. Step 3, left, then across the street. Step 4, straight until shop. Step 5, scary linear shit. I mean, there's kind of like this section of the game where like a lot of it becomes pretty linear, but like though I think the world has morphed and it's become scary and hellish and it looks awesome, but like the map exploration does become a bit more linear at this point. But anyways, step 6, go upstairs and left to save because you have to enter the big mall or town center. And I decided to save before the boss fight. So yeah, once we reach the boss fight, I'll elaborate on what you have to do. But there was this big thing which I really wanted to mention. I keep making like allusions to it. I'm just gonna come out and say it. There's a weird connection with like Silent Hill 2's like levels compared to Silent Hill 1 and Yakuza 8 levels compared to Yakuza 7 levels. Or I think I should call them dungeons instead. That should be like more apparent. So I no damage Yakuza 8's dungeons and Silent Hill 2's dungeons first. And while doing these no damages, I had the impression that the previous games like dungeons were more demanding with exploration and objectives. And when I eventually went back to no damage Silent Hill 1 and Yakuza 7's levels, I found out that their objectives and complexity were more simple than their sequels, and I had to contend with the fact that the sequels actually improved on and expanded the gameplay plus exploration of those dungeons. It was honestly a bit of a shocker, because I was always under the impression that Silent Hill 1 was like the more oppressive, more difficult, like more demanding game, while Silent Hill 2 was probably like the easiest in the franchise, and well, the easiest of the first 4 games. And I was always under the impression that Silent Hill 1 is just the much harder game, because it's like PS1, it's more demanding, it's not as casual. And for Silent Hill 1 specifically, it's a big yes or no, because the exploration and objectives are kind of easier across the board in Silent Hill 1, and also Silent Hill 1 just doesn't have as many solid defined levels. There's actually a good chunk of this game that's just like going from one place to another in the town. And the only like difficult like exploring the town section is at the very beginning. We have to like get 3 keys instead of 1 in Silent Hill 2. But for the most part, I'd probably say that Silent Hill 2 is the more obtuse game to explore and figure out. But the enemies in Silent Hill 1 are absurd. Like the flying things are so brutal in the overworld. Like the overworld exploration is more demanding than Silent Hill 2's because like you have the flying enemies, you have the gorillas, the monkeys, and you even have the dogs. The dogs are also demanding. The way they just run up at you, they're very fast. They're not that easy to dodge. So that is like more demanding in this game. But a lot of the other stuff is more demanding in Silent Hill 2. As for Yakuza 7 and Yakuza 8's case, the reason I was thinking about that is because like Yakuza 8's dungeons, I was kind of like, man, this is kind of like too simple. They really need to like make these things more complicated if they're going to keep doing turn-based games. And I was like, did Yakuza 7 have more interesting dungeons? And then I went back and no damage that game, and no. Yakuza 7's dungeons are for the most part worse. Yakuza 8 actually improves a lot of the dungeons, including the finale, including the final dungeon. So yeah, I do have my own no damage videos for those. Go watch those videos if you're interested. No damaging turn-based games. My goodness, I did it. But yeah, moving on from that point, we have my notes for, wait, I'm not at the worm yet. We're actually going to run to the worm. We have to like go through like the scary linear shit or another step. And I am going to drop a save here. Wait, no, I'm not. Oh, because I'm going to drop a save at the town center. Just like, I didn't want to spam saves too much, though. By the end of the video, I will be spamming a lot more saves. So, just wait till the end of the video, because the end of the video, like certain things do get a little more demanding. Some of the more gimmicky sections get annoying. There is a sort of chase sequence in this game that like drove me mad. I hate those like monkey enemies because like they're faster than you. Like, I mean, if you just run in a straight line away from them, you're gonna lose every single time because like the jumping attack is like so far. And even trying to like duke them out by trying to break their ankles, going left, right, they're kind of good at following you anyways. I mean, like on my fresh playthrough, I had the biggest trouble with them. On my no damage, not so much, but they're still incredibly aggravating enemies. Like, man, they do not play fair. I mean, they're probably either the second or third like most annoying enemy in the game, because I still think the demon children are by far the most aggravating thing I had to deal with in Silent Hill 1. Like, that school section is easily like the most I mean, it's a great level and all that, but like for no damage, oh my goodness, it is kind of aggravating. It is aggravating. And especially the way they get like crowd them inside those rooms. Oh! Also, I am not going to pass over how cool that little TV set piece is. That's an awesome scare. I also just love this environment, like the town center being fucked up and grady like this. Just, this is an amazing environment. I mean, you don't do too much in this part, but it's such a memorable, like, just poppy, like, set piece of the entire game. But the voice acting of the child of Cheryl does kind of ruin it. She sounds a little silly. She's like, hey, daddy. She doesn't sound like that. No. But, like, she doesn't really sound, like, natural to me. But another thing I really want to mention is that when you're in pitch black darkness, the terrain popping is a lot more noticeable than when you're running around in the fog. Like, the fog does a really good job at hiding it, but especially like in these really stressful situations where the frame rate just goes even lower and you're in complete darkness, you tend to like notice a lot of terrain popping just kind of coming out of nowhere, and it is kind of silly to see. It is like probably some of the most stressful sections of the game, probably some of the more stressful sections for the PS1, probably some of the most stressful sections for the PS3 emulation of the PS1, which I guess has a bit of a spotty record, but it is kind of how I played a good chunk of PS1 games. I also played Metal Gear Solid 1 for the first time through the PS3's little emulation of the PS1. And there's like a lot of different features you can add onto it. You can like make it full screen, which I believe stretches the game out and just makes it look ugly. That is why I did not do that with my footage here. I kept it by the natural like 4:3 aspect ratio. There's also this thing called smoothing you can do on the PS3, which I decided to just avoid because it kind of seemed like a feature that may or may not like ruin the graphics of the original game. Just to kind of keep things as natural and pixely as possible. And yes, it will be very pixely. This does say 1080p, but I doubt this is 1080p. And yeah, this worm boss fight, it's always going to like, if you stay on top of the grade, it always seems to just kind of pop out from the same place. So just kind of like watch out for it there, dodge the acid attack, dodge its like general like, you know, road of trajectory, shoot it a couple times with a shotgun, and then boom, it's dead. And also be sure to not waste shotgun ammo. I wasted one bullet, and believe me, I regret it, because like I actually found it very easy to just kind of waste a majority of the shotgun ammo like very quickly. So yeah, now that we're done with the worm, let me talk about my notes with getting past the worm, which I probably should have said before, but anyways, notes for worm onwards. Go! Step 1, fight worm. Step 2, right, left, take right to hospital. Step 3, save. The reason I dropped the save there is because like right before that moment you're going to fight the moth, and the moth is one of the more frustrating fights in the game because it requires you to just run in circles the entire time. And that hurts my hand on the D-pad. Oh my goodness, because like with this game's tank controls, this is actually a very important thing to mention if you're just hopping on from my Silent Hill 2 no damage. This game does not allow you to play with 2D movement. That's the thing with Silent Hill 2 added. You're forced to use tank controls for this entire thing. And hey, for the original Silent Hill 2, the tank controls were the best way to play for a majority of the game. It was only very niche situations where I decided to use like the freeform movement, which, what do I mean by 2D and freeform movement? Well, basically tank controls is you press forward and back to go forward and back, but when you press left and right, you turn instead of just going left or right. While in Silent Hill 2, you could turn on an option where when you press left or right, you immediately go left or right. And also when you press forward and backwards, it's in relation to how the character is standing, not in relation to the camera, while with the freeform movement, you move in relation to the camera. And well, with a game with so many different like camera changes and fixed camera angles, that gets kind of annoying to manage in Silent Hill 2, so like the standard way to play is tank controls. But in Silent Hill 1, tank controls is your only option, so you better deal with it. And also when you're running around in this section, it is best to just kind of keep the light off, but every now and then I turn it on because man, this game is dark and I can't see anything. So yeah, just keep that in mind while doing these steps. But yeah, when you're running in circles, I can't really use the control stick to do that because like with the D-pad, as long as I'm holding forward and like going left and right, but I'm still holding like the forward D-pad button, I will do the circle maneuver. But with the control stick, if I move to like left while still holding kind of forward, you just, instead of like, moving forward and left, you just start turning left because you move the control stick way too much to the left. It's harder to manage, and just, man, that boss fight just kind of annoys me. Though it is a very cool boss fight. Like the moth is just flying around. And one of the coolest things about the moth boss fight is that I never connected it to the worm boss fight beforehand. Because like on my first 2 to 3 playthroughs, even on my fresh playthrough of the game, which I did just for normalcy and not the no damage one, only on the no damage playthrough did I realize that the worm and the moth were the same creature. I never connected the dots that the worm evolved into the moth, and that's why they have the same acid attacks, like the same like greenish acid attack. I never connected that. I thought there were 2 different creatures you just randomly fight for no reason, but no, they're the same creature. So yeah, no, that's just a fun little detail. a lot of the big monsters in this game are kind of like weird children, like bugs children would be scared about, because the nightmares projected on this world are from like coming from a child that's been like burned at like 7 years old, and we're gonna get more into that later on in this video. But yeah, we're finally at the moth boss fight, and man, there is some tech to consider here, and also some tech which I just end up messing up in the attempt, but I managed to do no damage, so it's all good. So one thing which you really have to avoid when fighting the moth is the stutter step you do when you stop moving and continue holding down the sprint button. Like there's some, I mean, I do it in this video. Like sometimes like I'll stop sprinting and suddenly like Harry will be like, whoa. Yeah, like that you have to avoid that. You cannot do that when fighting the moth. It fucks up your timing. So instead of doing that, you need to let go of the sprint and continue moving just to be able to raise your gun faster. Also with the shotgun during the shooting animation, you can kind of like start turning to get the fuck out of there to continue running in a perfect circle to bait out the next attack. So the entire strategy here is run in a circle, wait for the acid attack, land a shot, and then, you know, keep running in a circle. So I believe that some of the technical terms is buffering. You can kind of like buffer the shooting animation to start turning during the shooting animation to just be able to like just run in a circle much faster, like out of the way. With the rifle, you cannot do this. However, with the rifle, you get out of like shooting it and running much quicker. Okay, another thing I have to mention about Silent Hill 1 is that the shooting animations are way faster than they are in Silent Hill 2. At the very least, with the shotgun and rifle, man, they are so fast in this game. Because like the shotgun in Silent Hill 2, you have to go like boom, and like James has to do like a whole big animation where he like cocks it again. In this game, he chooses like like a semi-automatic weapon, just like pop, pop, pop if you want. I mean, we're only doing like one shot every time here, but like if you just hold down that button, he shoots the shotgun so fast. You probably got a good glimpse of that during the first boss fight of this video. Like, it is such a useful weapon in comparison to Silent Hill 2, where I just never felt compelled to use it, especially on hard mode, where a lot of the time, like, the animation of shooting it just kind of leaves you stuck in place for such a long time that the enemy just catches up to you by the time you're done firing one shot. That just doesn't really have much purpose. You have to, like, adopt very weird strategies to make it useful in any sort of way. So, yeah, no, the shotgun in this game is goated, though I guess the one in Silent Hill 2 is more realistic to how shooting a shotgun actually would feel and how it would look. While in this game, the way it just fires is a little bit absurd. It's way too fast, but it's so useful. It is such a nice weapon to use. So yeah, no, that's my praise of the shotgun in Silent Hill 1 in comparison to Silent Hill 2, because man, Silent Hill 2 shotgun just didn't do much for me. Though it does have its uses for sure. It is still a powerful weapon, but it just has a lot more drawbacks than one would like. But besides that, let me talk about the steps for the moth. So anyways, notes for moth onwards. Go! Though a lot of this is going to be after the moth dies, because for example, step 1, fight the moth. And I did not have enough shotgun ammo to kill it, so I'm just going to switch over to the rifle for a little bit. So yeah, rifle, you can't really do the buffering animation thing, but you can quickly get the fuck out of dodge a lot quicker than the shotgun, so that's that. Only took like 2 shots, and then boom, moth is down for the count. And once the moth is down for the count, we have step 2. Go right across street. Step 3, take a left. Step 4, enter sewer. Step 5, kill, take a left, left for ammo. Step 6, left, straight, right, straight, left, straight. Step 7, save. The sewers is a fucking bitch of a section, and also, it's probably my least favorite section in the game just because it feels like such a filler moment in comparison to everything else. Like, you know, you have the school, big level. Hospital, big exploration level. Sewers, linear escapade with annoying ass Ninja Turtle enemies. So yeah, it's probably my least favorite section of the game. It just feels the least inspired, though the atmosphere is still really good. But like compared to like the crazy shit you've already seen, it doesn't really like match up. It doesn't really like add up to the same vibe, the same punch, the same boom, 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 boom. So yeah, now I'm going to backtrack to another point of my outline where, like I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure that my first and second playthrough of Silent Hill 1 was on the PS Vita. Because, you know, the PS1 games you can download on the PS3, yada yada. You've already heard this before. I've also played Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PS3 and then on the Vita too, but I'm not going to lie, I would not recommend playing Metal Gear Solid 1 on the Vita because, like, Metal Gear Solid 1 just feels so perfect on, like, a PlayStation controller because, like, it uses every single button. Like, you know, you have, like, your quick select for your, like, inventory. The thing is, the Vita has less buttons. So, you know, you need the triggers and the shoulder buttons for Metal Gear Solid 1 because, you know, the triggers allow you to access your inventory, while the shoulder buttons allow you to just quickly, like, pop one in, pop one out. So, like, for quick reloads with the pistol, you can, like, you know, unselect it and then immediately select it again for a very nice like ammo refill without having to pause the game every single time. However, on the Vita, you'll have to like, micromanage that in weird ways. You can make like the back touch screen like the extra buttons, or you can make like the touch screen on the front like the extra buttons. It doesn't really work out as well as I would like, so you're better off playing that with an actual controller. But I didn't follow those instructions. I played Metal Gear Solid 1 on the Vita a couple times. Just the PS Vita was kind of my Metal Gear Solid machine for the longest time. Like, I had Metal Gear Solids 1, 2, 3, Portable Ops, Peace Walker, Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, because they came with Snake Eater. Just like that port of like the second and third game on the PS Vita was something else, and I got so much mileage out of it. I platinumed Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 on the PS Vita version specifically, and wow, I would not recommend that for Metal Gear Solid 2. The VR mission like achievement is absurd. It's absurd playing on a normal controller. It's even more absurd playing on like the PS Vita version where you're slightly gimped on how useful you can be. Anyways, there's some cockroaches here. We're trying to bait them out. Then we're running away just so we can get a little bit of space here to kill the both of them, because we're going to end up killing most of the enemies in this first hallway because they're placed in very annoying situations where you really can't easily run past them. We're going to have to like kill the Ninja Turtles, but while we're killing the Ninja Turtles, we can't have these cockroaches sneaking up behind us and like, dealing bit damage. So kill the cockroaches first and then get ready to kill the turtles. And since usually you would use the shotgun in this situation, you want to save your rifle ammo for the final boss basically. But since I don't have any shotgun ammo, I'm using the rifle, and things turned out okay by the end. So you can still use your rifle ammo if you have the same amount of ammo I have right now. Maybe try out using pistol ammo on these things. It still kind of works, but I have the rifle. Let's just two-shot them. Even though I missed one of my shots, I am not using my ammo well, so you gotta have to bait out these two Ninja Turtles and then wait for them to die. Their dying animation is infuriating. Because, a lot of the enemies in this game, like once they die, they have a dying animation. They fall to the ground, they do this or that. But this one's dying animation is so fucking slow that you can't tell if it's dying or if it's alive. And it just, like, makes things more stressful because, like, what if you, like, shoot it enough times where it's kind of, stunned and you try to run past it, but no, it's alive and it hits you. So, yeah. And when you're running down this corridor, you have to kind of bait this one out, too. It's a kind of big 3, like, Ninja Turtles you have to kill. So on and so forth. The amount of Ninja Turtles you have to kill, you have to really pay attention to that. I think now is probably a good time to mention. Oh no, I already mentioned the things I do in this sewer beforehand. It's when I reach my save point where like my extra notes are gonna come into play. But hey, fuck it, I might as well like say my extra notes now just to kind of get ahead of the curve. Get your notepads out. Try to keep track of the chronological order of everything I'm saying, and then just make the connection yourself. But yeah, the whole thing about playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 on the Vita was back in a world where the Master Collection on Steam, PS5, and Xbox, like the newest Xbox One, X2, 5, Series X, who gives a fuck, didn't exist. And I've heard, like, iffy things about the Master Collection, that it's not, like, the perfect HD collection. But honestly, from a lot of speedrunners, like, inputs, like I say, Apache Smash, it seems like there is no perfect definitive HD collection of, like, any of the games. From what I understand, they all kind of have, like, their positives and negatives, but for the most part, they're all decently pretty cool. Like, the Master Collection is, for the most part, a decent way to, like, go through the games. Like, it's pretty solid. I think, like, Pachi Smash's comments were mostly related to Snake Eater, that there is no perfect version of that game. Like, the original has some issues, which then, like, a new version fixed, but that new version took away some stuff that was good in the original. And then an HD collection had some new things that were really good, but took away some things that were good in the original. And it just kind of keeps going with the Master Collection. And I know for a fact that that brand new remake is probably going to be the same thing. It's going to be like, it's probably going to have some new good things that are pretty cool, but it's probably going to take something away from the original. So you kind of have to play a couple versions to get the best experience. If you want to play the Ape Escape levels, you got to hop on the original at some point. So, check that out. Check that out someday soon. Notes for the sewer. Go! Step 1. Straight, then right. Step 2. At first left, go all left, then straight. Step 3. After first door, stick to right. Step 4. Go right, straight, left. Step 5. After ammo, go right. Step 6. Go right to gate. Step 7. Go left twice, then right. Step 8. Go left. Step 9. Run away! Shoot one. Oh, that objective is absurd. I hate that objective so much. Like, that little chase thing you have to do here, man, it sucks. It sucks. I hate it. We're not there yet. We're actually decently far away, but man, I hate it. Because you have to run away from like 3 of them, and there's going to be like 1 right in front of you, and it's like hidden by the camera. It's a sneaky fucking trick. It's dirty trick too. I hate it so much. We have to shoot that one, get it out of the way to run past the other 3 ones. When you're running down this little hallway, there's going to be cockroaches, so like whatever you do here, you have to be very quick about it. Ammo's the biggest thing. You have to pick up this ammo, then immediately get the fuck out of dodge so that the cockroaches don't damage you. So on and so forth. So yeah. So when you're running away in step 9, and after you shoot 1, then there's step 10. Left, left, right, left. Step 11. Left, use key on door. Step 12. At resort map, go left in a diagonal way to bar. So in following those steps, you should be able to reach the bar, which will activate a huge side quest, which is optional, but is required to get the best ending in the game. It is 100% required. You can't avoid it. This is a good plus run of no damaging the entire Silent Hill 1. And another thing I should have mentioned is that I am skipping basically all the cutscenes which are not pre-rendered. Like anytime it's like in-game models, I am going to prematurely kind of skip all of them. Aside from like a few rare exceptions. Anyways, here's the fuck-ass chase. You have to pick up a key here. A little cinematic is going to happen where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just kind of hop out. Do you see how the slow death animation could be a little bit infuriating in times of stress, which this game definitely puts you through? Holy shit, dude. I think it's such a bad design decision. Like, there should have been a more noticeable death animation. I hate those creatures so much. Like, imagine you just shoot it. It's like, oh, fuck, it's not dead. I gotta waste more bullets. But no, it's in the process of dying. You already killed it. And also, this game, you still have to, like, kick enemies for them to die. But that game's kind of, like, inconsistent about it. I've had more situations where like I shot the enemy to death while they were still on the ground. Honestly, a lot of the stomping them to death kind of happened more to me when I was dealing with the demon children. The demon children are always the biggest complication in this game, but I think this moment sucks more just because, well, it's lamer. And the school doesn't suck at all. I think the school's a great level aside from just the enemy density, because like there comes a point where like the levels are so dense with enemies where you stop being scared and you're just kind of like, oh, this is kind of annoying to navigate. But, oh yeah, an interesting design decision is just the puzzles in this game. Don't use RNG at all. Like, the solutions are always going to be the same, and it's just kind of interesting coming back to this game and that being the case, because Silent Hill 2 incorporates RNG in, like, very funny ways. Like, there's certain codes that will always be random, or, like, they'll, like, cycle between, like, 12 different, like, combinations, forcing you to actually, like, go and hunt for certain things, like certain clues. While in this game, not so much. In fact, this is a great example. There's certain codes you need to know to enter certain places for this side quest we're going to do. Or we go and rescue Kaufman, or rather, make Kaufman literally go to hell later in the game instead of now. Man, I was having a bad time with that monkey! Ugh! Anyways, check out this one cutscene I'm going to let play out a bit.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm beat. I thought I was a goner there.
It's in watching this footage that I remember I did do 2 playthroughs of this back in the day. Now, whether I did the second one on the PS Vita, well, that's a whole other matter. But the reason I remember it is because my first playthrough, I got the bad ending, and I kind of like it in like a End of Evangelion type of way. Like, the bad ending just kind of implies that the entire thing was just a dream Harry was having while he was dying in his car. Like, you could kind of put like the little tumbling down song over that, and it'd probably be like pretty funny. But it is kind of a joke ending, or just a bit of a slap in the face of the player. It's not really like a logical like continuation or conclusion for the game. Like, the good and good plus endings are basically the best way of things going about, and it just makes the most sense with the themes of everything of the entire game. So. But the reason I bring that up is because I did a second playthrough back in the day where I went for the good plus ending, but I made sure to look up specifically what to do online because I didn't really know how to get the good plus ending. So I looked up the conditions, and then when I reached the place where I would need to like apply the conditions, well, I just looked at the walkthrough for that. So I'd probably say that what you have to do here is kind of cryptic. But on a fresh playthrough, you know, like years after the fact, I was kind of like, can I do this side quest without knowing what to do? Like, can I do that? Like, can I do this side quest without, you know, having to look up a walkthrough? And during my fresh playthrough, I kind of did do this thing normally, but one cryptic thing which kind of fucked me over. It's not really cryptic, but if you miss it, it'll kind of fuck up your progression for the rest of this section. Is the fact that if you don't pick up the wallet at the bar, you're gonna like miss out on so many clues. I did not know to do that the first time I was like doing that on my fresh walkthrough after so many years. I think I had to have like someone like in the chat tell me to like go get that wallet, and then I went to get it, and then everything kind of clicked into place after that. But like from like the bar onwards and getting the wallet in the bar, this section shouldn't be too cryptic. You should be able to solve it. And like, see, like the monkey, they have those big ass jumping attack, and they go so far. And most of the time, they just get you. They just get you. Instead of going past you, they get you, and it is horrifying. I hate them so much, and the flying enemies are very annoying too, especially when you're trying to like enter these codes. I'm pretty so yeah. The code here is like 0886. So. Oh, another thing which I really wanted to mention about this game, I actually put this like thing in the outline later because I was going to mention it later. I was going to mention it at this exact point. But I was actually surprised to find out that Silent Hill 1 doesn't have like a memo system. Because in Silent Hill 2, whenever when I was doing like a fresh playthrough, whenever I have to like look at a piece of dialogue or like a note I picked up in the environment, I would go into the menu, I would look at my memos, and I can like review all the clues I had in my pocket. But in this game, no, you don't really have memos. So like there's certain notes where once you read them, that's like the only time you can read them. You can't go back into the menu and reread them because you don't keep them. You don't keep a memo of it. So yeah, that's actually an improvement Silent Hill 2 brought about. That's very nice. Anyways, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. And with this sip of coffee, it makes me realize that I should probably talk about my notes for this section because the notes for this section are really important. So yeah, for notes on side quest. Go! Step 1. Forward past bar on left to store. Step 2. Code 0473. Step 3. Go left but forward past blue sign. Step 4. Stay right for Kiwami building. Step 5. Keypad 0886. Grab magnet. Loading zone. What loading zone means is that like in that one room, there's like this one room in like the motel where you have to like traverse from like one side of it to the other, but those sides are kind of blocked off by a loading zone because one side goes into the overworld, the other side goes into like this segmented motel area. This Kiwami motel, right? So then after the loading zone, there's step 6. Room 3, use magnet. Now, have I used the magnet yet? I don't know. And then there's step 7, go to motorcycle room. Step 8, save. So when you lay all the steps out like in order, it's actually not that complicated. Though in my fresh playthrough, I did kind of get confused because, well, I forgot to pick up the wallet. And I investigated other rooms and, I wasn't doing everything as rushed as possible, so on and so forth. So this is how you pretty much secure Kaufman's, safety for the ending. So there's like there's like 3 big important things you need to do to get the good plus ending. I prefer the ending system of Silent Hill 2. Watch my No Damage of that game to get more context on that. This game, it's very much like if you don't do this one side quest, or like these few like little side quests, you don't get the best ending. It has nothing to do with your morality or whatever. That's none of your business. So yeah, we pretty much completed this little side quest there, and then Harry's like, wow, that was a waste of time. That guy's an asshole. I hate him. And then you just kind of move on. You could skip this entire little chunk of the game and just go straight to the Lighthouse, which will probably save a good amount of time. And if you're going to do a speedrun, you're probably better off going for the bad ending. Wait, that's not even true. For speedruns, you're probably better off going for the good ending, because for the bad ending, you still have to actually fight Civil when it's our boss fight, because the good ending gives you the advantage of you don't have to fight her. You just use an item to immediately skip the fight, which probably makes things quicker. And just getting the bottle and red juice doesn't take that long, all things considered. So getting the normal good ending is probably the quickest way to speedrun the game. But I might be wrong. You have to fact check me on that. I am not a speedrunner of Silent Hill 1, and I don't know if I want to be. I don't know. One day I'll probably speedrun a Yakuza game. I mean, I've no damage all the boss fights in there. I'm working my way through the long battles in the franchise. Anyways, I should probably get to my notes beyond the side quest, because there are notes beyond the side quest. So there's and these notes are placed in a really weird way. I don't know where it is. I already did the side quest. I already did the. Oh, where's my notes to go to the lighthouse? I guess. I mean, I assume this is to go to the lighthouse, right? I'm actually so confused right now. Hold on, I gotta recollect myself. As it turns out, my notes for this section I don't think exist, or rather, the notes I have are like so straightforward that they barely count as notes. I think this is like one of the only sections of the game that's like straightforward enough that I decided not to like write it down because it was like I could follow along decently well on where to go. Or I might have like forgotten to like write down one of my notes in like my digital notes because like these notes I've been writing down, which I keep mentioning, I actually wrote them down on paper. And then like after writing them down on paper, I put them back into like my digital notes, which just create the outline for like my video. I'm kind of reading it off of my phone. Like these videos are kind of a mix of points for my outline and just on the fly commentary of whatever I think of at the moment. For instance, I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention that, and this is something which I only noticed on my no damage run, that the radio does not work in the sewers, which I guess kind of makes sense. You know, it's the sewers, it's down below, I guess it doesn't reach any frequencies. But I just didn't think the game would do that, because to loop back to Yakuza 7 and also 8, I think they hinted at the fact that your telephone wouldn't work in the sewers of those games, but when the full game came out, I'm pretty sure they went back on that, because I guess limiting your summons when you're fighting stuff in the dungeons, like in like the sewer dungeons, would just be too much. So they just didn't follow through on that. But Silent Hill 1, no, it's following through on this. Like the radio just doesn't work when you're near an enemy in the sewers. You have to like listen for audio cues to notice when an enemy is near you or whatnot. So yeah, that's really neat. So Carcinogen's run is like 30 minutes longer than mine, but that's only because he lets every single cutscene play out. I skip a good majority of them. I'm pretty sure like the runs we have are pretty similar in time. His might be slightly faster, but he let all the cutscenes play out. I don't. I kind of like stop the cutscenes after they say like one word because it's like humorous to me. It brings me great joy. I think some of the only times I let the full cutscenes play out is for humorous effect or because it's the credits. I will let the entire credits of this game play out. Just gives me more time to like talk, do my commentary, so on and so forth, and just, you know, give credit to the people who made this game. Very nice, very nice. But yeah, I think now will probably be a good time to mention the notes I have for this section of the game. It's also really down in like my outline here, really low here. I mean, this thing is organized in a more readable fashion than like my Silent Hill 2 outline. That was a big issue in that video. I think the Silent Hill games are just, they're hard to make outlines about because I have so many things I want to talk about. They're dense games. Like, I mean, I think Silent Hill 2 is like more dense, but this one is still insanely dense. There's so much stuff that I'm missing, and there's stuff which, like, I mean, okay, so for this section here, the main strategy is to kind of run through with your light turned off and learning that. But I decided to say fuck that, and instead I'm going to spend a majority of this section killing the enemies because, man, they piss me off. And I mean, where else am I going to waste my pistol ammo? It's pretty much going to be here and with like the Shadow Children later on. That's going to a story for another day. So like, you do not want to go the entire way up the stairs here because this monkey, monkey has a very bad habit of just instantly grabbing you when you're at the top of the stairs. So just kind of like buffer it out a bit and like just wait. And yeah, this guy kind of like shoot him down, you know, keep some distance because they jump very fast and very long towards you. So, you know, so one bird, two monkeys. There's going to be another bird. We're going to shoot them down once they reach this bridge here. You know, just kind of be ready for the bird. The demon bird. This is like a nightmare bird. It's got different like sound design. It's got different attack animations. And that moment there, I'm pretty sure I did not take damage. I mean, I didn't get stunned by it, but it looked like it hit me, right? Man, I hate moments like that. They're so stressful. So yeah, we're going to shoot that bird down. And I believe there's going to be two more monkeys. And I think, I'm not sure if I skip these monkeys or if I shoot them down. Like, for like the first half of this chase to like the lighthouse, oh, I just run past it. That's so lucky. I got so lucky there that I dodged that. Like, that's what no damaging is all about. So yeah, running up here, we're gonna run with the light off because with the light off, the flying bird demon, it makes it harder for the bird demon to hit you. But I've had many instances where I had the light turned off and the bird still hones in on me and clips me. Well, it hits me. So even having the light turned off is not a complete safety net, but it should help generally. But generally means you still need to be on guard, that the bird might come in and just scratch the fuck out of you, because that's what birds do. Hawks in real life do that. So what can a nightmare do? Nightmare bird do? More. It can do more. But yeah, I gotta get back to my notes. So my notes for this lighthouse section. Go! Step 1. Lighthouse stuff. What is lighthouse stuff? Everything that just happened right now. See, I did not like categorize this in notes because I just had it in my mind. Like, I pretty much just routed it out for myself. I felt it out for myself. Step 2. And step 1 is lighthouse stuff and then go to the sewers. So lighthouse stuff, we're still in lighthouse stuff. So that once you go to the sewers, there's step 2. straight, right, right, left. So the only good thing about the second visit to the sewers is that it is short if you know what you're doing. It's just like a linear. You pretty much go straight, then you take a right, then you take a right from that right, and then you take a left from there. Give or take a couple like weird demon children censorship things. Silent Hill 1 has like weird censorship, like really weird censorship. Because, okay, so the American version of Silent Hill 1 did not censor the demon children in the schools. But I think in the European, I'm not sure if it's in European, but I think in the Japanese release of the game, those demon children, they were like, these are two children of demons. So they replaced it with a different enemy. And we're actually going to meet that different enemy in the second half of the sewer section. So that's what's running around the school instead of like the demon children we meet like in the American and European version of the games. And they don't really make things easier from what I understand. They pretty much serve a similar purpose. They're just kind of like a small child-sized like demon that just grabs you and just stabs the fuck out of you. So they're equally annoying in terms of gameplay, but in terms of context and like story, it kind of changes up the vibe a bit. So like America keeps the demon children, but for some reason there's this really important like note you read like near the end of the game that's only in the European and Japanese release of the game that pretty much explains what happened to Alessa, like the main like tortured victim of this game that's burned because of this very important event, which you don't find that memo in the American version because they took it out. It's like, it literally explains one of the pivotal, like crucial turning points of this entire narrative, and it is gone. I mean, for one, it's optional in the European and Japanese release. You can like go through the whole game and not read it. That's the obtuse nature of the storytelling in Silent Hill 1, which works for a horror like atmosphere. You know, like the more obtuse something is, you know, like the less you know about it, the scarier it is. You know, it fucks with your mind. That's good. But in the American version, it's gone. It doesn't even exist. You have to go to a fucking Silent Hill wiki to get caught up on a main plot point of the game. What the fuck, dude? But anyways, what does that memo say? Let me read it out to you. So, as it reads, fire broke out in town. By the way, this memo is like from a newspaper. So, fire broke out in town. 6 homes destroyed. Charred body of Alessa Gillespie, 7 years old. Found in aftermath. Cause of fire currently under investigation. Investigation shows source as basement of Gillespie home. Blaze now believed caused by malfunction of antiquated boiler. And then after you're done reading that, like Harry has like his own thoughts to himself. There's the censored enemy. Well, not censored per se, but that's the enemy that they replaced the demon children with in the school of the Japanese release. I don't think it applies to the European release. By the way, those fucking, I think they're called tumblers or something. They have a habit of just teleporting. There he is, fucking there, just blocking the entire, these things are so much more fat than like the school children. So like fucking, they take up a lot of space. That probably makes them more annoying to run past or like shoot past or something. But yeah, watch out. Like either one of them could teleport in front of you at that point, or 2 of them could teleport right in front of you. Because I'm pretty sure in Carcinogen's case, the 2 of them teleported right in front of him, just fucking up the whole process. So yeah, once we reach this amusement park, there's really no notes to take because navigating this entire area is just confusing by itself. But there's no threat. There's no enemies. So the general advice is just go right. And just kind of like run around the edges until you go to the amusement park, like the carousel with the horsey horses. And that's where you have the little boss fight. Just keep doing that and you'll find your way. But I do gotta warn you, the area is mostly empty, but there's like 1 enemy. I think if you go to like the Ferris wheel attraction and try to like enter it, there's like a little like demon child like hiding at the entrance. So yeah, he could fuck you up if you don't know what you're doing, but running around the area, just this empty area, you're not going to run into a single enemy, so you're fine. You're pretty much fine. Unless there's like these little like shadow ghost people that, you know, don't hurt you now, but like in the final like nowhere level of the game, they end up being like actual like demonic enemies. They act the same way as the demon children, except this time they're harder to see. Man, it tortures my brain. So shout out to Sato Takayoshi, because he's the guy who animated, and I'm pretty sure they're like the human character designs, but he's the one who animated all like the FMV sequences. I think one's gonna happen right now. He animated these sequences by himself. Like he's the only one animating this, and I'm pretty sure like For the first game, it was like much more stressful conditions, but he did it again in the second game. And then they stopped doing it after the second game. But yeah, no, they're awesome. Like, these ones just look incredible. He's got a great control of like character expressions, and he gets much better at it in Silent Hill 2. I mean, he also had better tech to work with and all that. But yeah, no, just like they're so expressive. There's like one expression which happens like the first time you enter nowhere with Lisa. There's her eye twitches. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I guess that's pretty realistic, but also just kind of throws you off. It's like uncanny. It's like, whoa. So yeah, I don't know how hard this boss fight is, because for the good plus ending, you just walk up to her, you pretty much go into your inventory, use the item, and then boom, the boss fight's over. No more boss fight. And here, I mean, I decided to kind of record these cutscenes, or at the very least, a good chunk of these cutscenes. I am going to skip like one part. But there's like one part with Alessa, which I wanted to keep just because she like force pushes you away, and it just looks really funny the way like Harry gets splat against the ground. And then there's another cutscene where the same thing happens to Sybil, but I did not keep that cutscene in this video because the cutscene before the final boss, I mean, like, on a normal playthrough, I guess it's pretty satisfying, you know, finally getting so many answers for all the mystery in the game, but for the no damage, having to see that cutscene every single time, like trying to attempt the final boss, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm good. I do not want to fuck around with that. But yeah, no, I just had to shout out, like, Satoshi. He's super important for, like, the vibe of Silent Hill 1 and 2. Also, the main director of Silent Hill 1 is, like, super awesome, too. Because, like, Silent Hill 1 and 2 have different directors. But the director of the first game, he went on to do Siren. He went on to do Gravity Rush. He's got a varied career. He's done a lot of bangers, for sure. Banger after banger after banger. Even though I haven't played Siren. I have played Gravity Rush. Have not played Siren yet. I should hop on that one day. There's that funny moment I wanted to mention, but the name of the director of Silent Hill 1, the original PS1 game, is Keishiro Toyama. I hope I pronounced that well, but yeah, no, shout out to him. Very dope guy. A lot of dope games. Check out his work. Check out his team's work. I mean, I guess he didn't stay at Konami, and to be fair, I guess who would? I don't know, the state of Konami's weird. I mean, it is kind of like easy to look back at Konami with like disdain, but like during a certain era, they were absolutely untouchable. Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, Castlevania, like it's just more in the modern days. They don't seem to be able to take the most advantage of their stuff. I guess they're kind of climbing their ways back. I mean, there's been a couple HD collections that they've done pretty nicely. People have responded well to the Silent Hill 2 remake, which I have played. And I do plan to no damage it one day. Yeah, it's this cutscene right here. Look at the little eye twitch which Lisa does. It's crazy. It's like, oh, what is that? And I'm pretty sure just like Silent Hill 2, he probably like hand animated like all these like FMV sequences, but it's just crazy attention to detail. I mean, for like a PS1 game, that's insane. But then we kind of have to like go back to these more stilted like in-game models. We have to like load in every piece of audio like every single time, or rather, I guess they chose to do it that way. And, like, I don't know, I mean, I have not looked into the facts of how this game was made because, well, there really isn't a good documentary for it. Silent Hill 2 had this, like, really neat making of documentary that was, like, super informative and kind of, like, gave me an idea of where the inspirations came from, so on and so forth. But in terms of the making of Silent Hill 1, that just didn't exist yet. I mean, from what I understand, Team Silent, the development team for this game, was pretty new. Look at this camera angle! This is incredibly, like, next-gen for the time. Just, like, all the cinematic-ass camera angles that just pull out of nowhere. Like, boom, I'm suddenly playing a modern God of War game out of nowhere. Who thinks of this stuff? Back in 1998 or something. What the fuck, man? It's awesome. Just such a well-crafted experience that's just so dense, but also, like, short. It's like, oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful dessert, man. Even though desserts are meant to be pleasant and not oppressive and horrific, but I don't know, prove me wrong. What dessert is oppressive and horrific? Let me know in the comments. Also, I think I forgot to mention, maybe I already did and I'm just forgetting things too quickly, but after you're done reading the boiler room note, which you can't get in the American version of the game, Harry thinks to himself, the date of the blaze. It's the same day we found Cheryl. So it just adds like more oh, there's a little ghost of Alessa. Ah! Scary. But now that we're finally in the nowhere level, I have to tell you every single step I noted down to be able to defeat this level more easily. And believe me, it's under 20 steps. I'm telling you, like, the school was the most complicated part by far. Even nowhere, once you know how to do everything, is not that overwhelming. So, yeah, no, it's just kind of weird. It's like, oh, this was simpler than I remember. I guess it's just kind of like a child brain versus adult brain, except I was an adult when I played this game. I was like, what, 19, 20? So, not much has changed. I mean, it's been like, what, 3 to 4 years, give or take? I guess my IQ got bigger. But anyways, here's my notes for nowhere. Go! Step 1. Last door on right. Last door on right. Step 2. Door left of double door. Second left door. Step 3. 6, 4, 8. What is 6, 4, 8 in like a reference to? It's the puzzle with like you have to go to a photo of a bull. You have to go to like a photo of. It couldn't have been a bull because a bull has 6, 4 appendages. Okay, it must have been like the photo of the archer. Like the weird like horse archer, the centurion, whatever he's called. Like the whole gimmick of that puzzle is just you have to like put in a number for how many limbs they have. They try to give you clues by showing you a photo of a crab and like other animals. Is this going to be the puzzle room? Let's see. Nope. Is this going to be the puzzle room? I feel like it's going to make more sense once it's on screen. Yeah, you see? You get a photo of a creature. You have to like pretty much input how many limbs does that creature have. That's the entire puzzle. Kind of a little bit of a brain teaser, but nothing too bad. So yeah. 6, 4, 8 going from the left to the right, and then you get the big thing. Bravo. So then step 3, that. Then after that, go right to door with code alert. So that's the code you need to input. Then there's step 4, Lisa, frowny face. Second door on left, last left wall door. Step 5, all the way right, third floor. Step 6, the way I wrote this down in my notes was weird as fuck. Like I had multiple X's showing off the patterns of the code, but that doesn't really work when I'm noting it down digitally on my telephone. So that part will make more sense when we get there. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I guess remembering it and like putting it down digitally in my notes app just doesn't really work out. And here we're actually going to enter a big cutscene, which I really want to let play out. It's probably like my favorite moment in the game. So yeah, I'm just going to stop talking for a bit.
Harry,
Lisa, what's the matter with you?
I get it now. Why I'm still alive even though everyone else is dead. I'm not the only one who's still walking around. I'm the same as them. I just hadn't noticed it before.
Lisa.
Stay by me, Harry. Please. I'm so scared. Help me. Save me from them. Please. Harry?
Lisa?
The tragedy is palpable. Even though I don't like find Lisa that interesting, I guess in the same way I don't find a majority of this cast that interesting. I mean, Lisa is very interesting when you start reading her memos and all that, but like first impression, she is just kind of there, and also she does kind of serve as a bit of an info dumping machine a lot of the time, like in most of her cutscenes. But like the whole tragedy of it is that, you finally meet someone who's like actually nice to you in the town, like, okay, Sybil's one thing, right? But then she's gone. Then you have like Dahlia, who's fucking weird and talks in riddles. Then you have Kaufman, who's an asshole. So like Lisa's like the only, like, besides Sybil, like pleasant person you've met in town. So for like her whole fate to be like so tragic by the end, to be caught in this like weird, like hellish nightmare, is just, it's awful, man. It's just awful to see play out. Just that music there by Akira Yamaoka, like Not Tomorrow. Oh my god, that moment hits. And just the way it's directed too. Holy shit. So here I dropped a save, even though I really didn't have to, except for the fact that like fighting the Shadow Children is so fucking annoying. I had to like take a mental break, and at the very least, if I enter a room which has a save point, I might as well just save there, So, and also saving at this point means that every single save I've done like adds up to 20. and 20 is a better number than 19. You know, we rounded it up, so yeah. I guess I'll have to get back to my notes now. So, yeah, notes for nowhere, go. Last time I was talking about note 6, like step 6, but now I'm going to be talking about step 7. Floor 2, last door on left. Step 8, straight, last left door. But that previous step I was talking about, which was confusing as fuck, this is what I was referring to. Like, on physical paper, I just put like physical X's to like indicate which pattern to put on these doors. But that doesn't really translate to my notes in any like good way. So yeah, just follow that pattern for this left door and you'll be good. There's also a pattern to do on the right door, but the right door doesn't have any key items. I think it just has like maybe a few more healing items and a little bit more ammo, which we don't necessarily need. So yeah, you just need to go to this left door for the important like story item to continue doing the rest of the level. Yeah, we have to pick up a key for the birdcage, and the birdcage is going to have a key for another place, and that key for the other place is going to lead us to the end of the level. Just, progression. Yippee! So yeah, I'm going to be repeating myself here. Let me go back to step 8. Straight. I mean, right now we're doing step 7, so I guess I might as well start there again. Floor 2, last door on left, not counting this one. Once we go through this door, that's going to be the last door on left. Then there's step 8, which is straight, last left door. Step 9. Oh, yeah, by the way, for this section, you can just run straight into this nurse and she'll never turn around if you're quick enough. So that's just how you deal with that. Just kind of keep running into her. Yeah, you see nurses like grab me every now and then, but I shake them off before any of them land a knife attack, so no damage. I mentioned it before. Yes, yeah. Step 9. First door on right. Step 10. First door on right, straight. Step 11. Straight, first door on left. Step 12. Go back, straight, door on right. Step 13. Second right door. Last left door. Step 14. Last door on right wall. Step 15. First yellow text door on left. Step 16. Enter. 2 door on right to reset. Yeah, enter 2 door on right to reset. Go left to enter door. Exit across. Straight. Final boss. That's my notes for the final level of the game, though I'm not going to lie. Some of those later sections need more context for you to fully get what the fuck I'm talking about. Because I end up doing a couple bit more tricky stuff, like resetting rooms to like avoid certain like enemies. It mostly revolves around this section here. So at first I'm going to be entering rooms just for their sole purpose of entering the room, getting an item, and getting out. But then there's going to come a point where I just enter the room to reset the hallway and then exit again in order to like go to another part of the hallway. You have to be very tricky here. You're going to have to like turn off the light. You're going to be very quick, like going from door to door. And yes, you have to collect this ring of contact before entering this area. It all adds up to a bit of a confusing time, but like everything is still like the design of the hospital on this final level. Like most of the important doors are so close to each other that like if you know what you're doing and you know everywhere you need to go, it's simpler to like achieve and activate than the fucking school, man. That school just haunts me. See, once you exit that place, you have to go right, immediately go into that door, turn off the lights so that the shadow children don't like instantly kill you. Man, they're like the most annoying enemy behind the demon children because they're the same! One really annoying thing about that specific objective is that if you check the shelf and your Harry isn't exactly on top of the jelly beans, he'll be like, oh, nothing useful to check here. So you would assume, oh, don't check anything, but no, it's just that you weren't looking exactly at the jelly beans. That's such a misleading piece of like game design, if you know what I mean. Anyways, at some point I really wanted to mention Jacob's Ladder because it was a movie which I heard inspired Silent Hill. So I was going to watch it for my Silent Hill 2 video, but I kind of opted out of it because I already had like enough like other things to mention. I read the entirety of Crime and Punishment to talk more about Silent Hill 2, and so on and so forth. So I thought I might as well just save Jacob's Ladder for my Silent Hill 1 video. So yeah, you see here I'm trying to do like some weird stuff. I went like left, right. I'm entering this room to reset this room, and then I'm going to go straight to go to the generator. We have to turn off the generator. And also, just like Silent Hill 2, when it comes to locked doors, you need to have your light on. Even if you have the key, you need to have your light on or you won't unlock the door. Like, the door would just be locked if you have your light turned off. You need your light turned on. So the light is still super useful. You need to have your light turned on to like pick up certain things, to use certain things, and to open locked doors. Even if you have the key available, you need the light on. So yeah, you can turn the light off to like sneak around, do other things. So yeah, this is the part where I just start shooting every single like demon I see. It's kind of like that one moment in White Lotus, a show I have not seen, but I know like the final, like one of the final climactic scenes of season 2 is just this, just fucking firing a gun without even looking and just waiting for the radio to die down. Like, I am not playing this strategically at all. I'm just kind of nearly wasting all my pistol ammo. One of the funniest things which happened to me, and it was happening to me when I did like my second and final stream of the game, is that I'm pretty sure that if you play this game on the PS3 for long enough, like if you leave your PS3 running for like maybe 7 to 9 hours, and you try shooting the pistol in this area, like the game's sound just gets all fucked up. It's just going like... And it happened to me on stream. And I also, like, while no damaging this game, like, it happened to me. Like, I was like, oh, might as well try shooting the shadows instead of, like, trying to hide or, like, run away from them. And it happened to me. I was like, what the fuck? How am I going to record a no damage there? So I turned off my PS3 and turned it back on, and that solved the issue for me. But it's such a weird issue. I mean, like, has this happened to anyone else? Or is my PS3 or the other PS3 I borrowed from my friend, watch my Silent Hill 2 video for more context, is this just a common issue with like the PS3 emulation of the original Silent Hill 1, or is something else going on with my PS3? Is it housing like certain inhabitants I don't know about? So yeah, like I mean, you could like destroy every like demon in this hallway and then enter this hallway again, and a couple of them might respawn. How many? I don't know. I feel like that part is random. The puzzles, no RNG there. Enemies like respawning in after you shoot them, a little bit of RNG. So I'm just waiting for that radio. I'm trying to, like, you know, get my bearings. And, oh, fuck, I'm going to shoot every single enemy until I hear that radio go off. Because this really is the end of the game. This is, like, the final. This is the final stretch before the final boss fight. So, you know, I'm just playing it as safe as possible. I mean, I'm not going to use my pistol ammo for anything else. So I might as well just waste it all here. And, hey, it worked out decently well for me. I mean, I still got a decently speedy little run of this game, though. The speed run time is way faster than 2 hours and 10 minutes. I mean, I didn't exactly do a speed run, but I didn't exactly do a slow run. Let's say that. I'm kind of like somewhere in the middle. So yeah, this is the point where things get complicated. So I'm going to enter this room on the right, and then I'm going to turn my light off. I'm going to go to the other room on the right, and the only reason I'm doing that is to pretty much reset the hallway, just like navigate this space as safely as possible without like the shadow children like, you know, catching up in speed or trying to catch me. So then at this point, you have to go like across the hall to the left and then like pretty much go to the next door on the left there, enter that. This is the place with a save point, but we don't need to enter that save point yet because across from us is actually our final like key item we need to collect. And here there's going to be a bit of voice acting, and I think some people have theorized, or maybe it's been proven, I don't know, that some of the doctors here might have been voiced by members of Team Silent because they kind of got like a bit of an accent going on. And we got Kaufman here, he's there. So yeah, and also just the voice acting in this game in general just doesn't really, I don't think really works for these more normal-ish characters. Like, the voice acting in Silent Hill 2 is better, but it still kind of has a bit of an awkward vibe, you know, like a little bit uncanny, a little bit stilted. But the characters in Silent Hill 2 are all kind of like psychopathic. Well, I don't think psychopathic is the right word, but like they're not right in the head. So like for them to kind of talk like that makes more sense. While the characters here, they're all normal people. So them to talk like this just feels a little bit off. Some people say that maybe like this more stilted piece of acting is inspired by David Lynch. And it probably is inspired by David Lynch, but let's not be mistaken. I think a lot of David Lynch projects like do have really great acting. I mean, I think a lot of the reasons why Twin Peaks is held up in such high regard isn't because every like actor delivers like stilted like voice acting. It's because Kyle MacLachlan is genuinely great in the role. And there was another one I really wanted to mention. The actor for Hawk is genuinely great in the role. I mean, yeah, you do have like the more cartoony characters like Andy. Like, he is kind of like delivering something like more akin to this, but it still feels like more intentional than maybe some of the deliveries here in Silent Hill 1. But yeah, no, just there really isn't that much craziness going on in Silent Hill 1. Like, every character is decently straightforward. There is a pretty interesting story. And I guess like one really like dope thing about this game is that they didn't make Alessa like an evil child, because like the movie adaptation just immediately went in that direction. It's kind of like, oh, the evil child wants her revenge and she's gonna kill everyone, and it's like it's cool to see on screen, but like story wise I don't really give a fuck. It's like, okay, it's kind of cringe, I'm not gonna lie to you. And another thing about the movie, actually no, I don't want to talk about the movie. I want to talk about Jacob's Ladder. So honestly, maybe it's glad that I didn't see that movie for the Silent Hill 2, because Well, I mean, it is very, like, Silent Hill 2 takes a lot from it. For one, the main character has the same fit as James, like a green Vietnamese jacket, like jeans, you know, it's kind of similar demeanor. So, like, they took that. And in terms of inspirations and kind of like links in between Silent Hill 1 and Jacob's Ladder, there's this really like hellish hospital scene in Jacob's Ladder that feels like it was ripped straight out of a Silent Hill game, or rather, it feels like Silent Hill just ripped that scene and kind of made it like a huge portion of their game, which is awesome. Because Jacob's Ladder, I mean, it's a great movie, but don't go into it thinking it's a Silent Hill movie, even though it is a better Silent Hill movie than, say, the actual Silent Hill movie. But it's like one of the best things about Jacob's Ladder is just how low-key it is. It isn't fully a horror movie. It only really dives into horror like occasionally. In the beginning, there's one metro scene that's really fantastic and also feels very reminiscent of a Silent Hill game. Honestly, it feels like Silent Hill 3 took cues from that scene. And then there's the big hospital scene, which very much feels like a Silent Hill game. But then onwards, it's a much more low-key kind of character study, just kind of like walking through the subconscious sort of movie. And it really holds back a lot of its punches, so that when the punches actually come, they hit like a fucking... Oh! I don't think that's the best way to describe it, but given that fact that there's only 10 minutes left for this video, I don't think I can like go too in-depth with what I want to talk about. And I didn't really have anything too in-depth to talk about with Jacob's Ladder anyways, just wanted to mention it. It's there. It's a great movie. Check it out. Final boss of the game. Ooh, a bit annoying, but honestly, not as annoying as the final boss fights in Silent Hill 2. Originally, I heard that you could enter this boss fight with 0 ammo, and that would pretty much make the game, like, force you to win. Like, you would, like, walk in and, like, the game would automatically win itself. But the people who said that did not describe this well enough, because that's not how it works at all. Pretty much, on easy and normal difficulty, if you walk into this boss fight without any ammo, the boss fight will end after 30 seconds. But on hard difficulty, if you enter this boss fight without any ammo, that will end in 5 minutes! Fuck! And it's actually easier to just shoot the boss fight dead instead of, like, you know, running around for 5 minutes, because in order to avoid all the attacks, you have to run in a perfect circle. A perfect fucking circle without bumping into anything for the lightning not to hit you. So you only have to do that for like a minute or two if you're shooting this thing dead with rifle ammo. But for, like, you know, on hard difficulty, if you enter this fight without any ammo, you have to do it for 5 minutes straight. My hand fucking hurts. Oh. So at some point I'm going to run out of rifle ammo. Boom, there it is. So then I switch to the shotgun. You're going to want to enter this fight with as much rifle ammo as possible. And if you don't have enough rifle ammo, have a little bit of ammo of the other weapon. And here I'm going to get really lucky. Like, I'm going to, like, waste a bunch of my shotgun ammo, and I'm going to get, like, really lucky on when to stop, when to shoot back. Like, boom, 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 boom. I probably should have started running before that, but boom, the fight's over. Boom, bam, pow. And this is a cutscene. I am going to let it play out its entirety, same with the credits. But I'm going to continue yapping because I'm pretty sure the song in the credits is copyright claimed, and pretty much makes my no commentary version like sharing revenue instead of just full revenue. So I'm just going to keep talking. Yes. This final boss fight theme is probably like one of my favorites I get out of any horror game. It's so twisted. I mean, like, you can kind of interpret it as like your radio like notices enemies. We established that at the beginning. I didn't, the game did. And you can kind of take this as the game just going so fucking crazy. Your radio going so crazy because this is in the presence of like this fucking demonic ass like god king thing, which the cult for some reason wanted to summon because they're stupid and dumb. Anyways, the bad ending has a different boss fight, which I'm pretty sure plays out the exact same. In the sense that, like, instead of fighting that weird, disgusting demon thing, you just fight the incubator, I mean, the person who's holding, like, the demon god baby, and she pretty much just looks like that. It's like, I guess it's just Alessa. And she kind of just floats around and does the same thing, but, you know, different vibe, because you're not just fighting a weird demon thing, you're fighting, like, this angelic figure. You still have to, like, kill them. And once you kill them, I guess it happens as either the good or the bad ending. Man, the different endings of this game, I mean, it's all just like condition based, you know. Did you get this item to use on Sybil at this one point? Did you do this one side quest? And that's pretty much how I bet. And also, there's a creature inside my room that wants to leave. So I guess I'm gonna have to like, yep, you heard them? They want to leave. I'm gonna try a more experimental route and carry an animal while doing this commentary, and it is already going badly. I don't think the animal wants to be carried anymore. I was trying to relate to Harry Mason, the way he's holding this new reincarnated baby. This ending is really great, though. It kind of, like, allows... It's a bittersweet ending. Honestly, the bittersweet endings are usually the best ones. I'm going to let go of this cat I'm carrying right now. Yep. So, yeah, it's a bittersweet ending because, well, Harry Mason wants to get his daughter back, right? That's, like, the main goal he has the entire time. He doesn't exactly get it. Cheryl does not come back. Cheryl has reunited with Alessa. Alessa has died, but using, like, the last bit of her power, she's made a new baby that can be free of this curse. And, well... We'll see how that develops in Silent Hill 3, but it's a bittersweet ending, you know? Harry Mason doesn't get exactly what he wants, but they still get to strive for something good in the end. And also, this fucking guy gets dragged into hell with Lisa. That's also a really good way for that to end off. However, the implications of that in Silent Hill 3 get really tragic. Like, I mean, Lisa somehow is still trapped in the hellish world, while Kaufman is like being like endlessly tortured. Like, I don't know exactly how it works out, or like just the logistics of it all, but it's some very gruesome stuff in Silent Hill 3 that you can like discover later on in that game. I'm not gonna lie, I think my attention span at the end of this video has kind of like ran out. I don't know what to say for these final parts. I mean, I've ran out of points to talk about on my outline. I don't really have anything beyond that to say, but like for the last 6 minutes, I mean, I gotta talk about something, because if I don't talk about something, the copyrighted music is going to make me share revenue with everything else. And I mean, this is a 2-hour and 10-minute commentary video. I might as well have more commentary to say. The opposite of this actually happened to me in Silent Hill 2's commentary, where once the video was done, I actually had more to say, so I added more like length to my video. I think the opposite is happening here. Just I don't know where to go on here. So I guess when I first played the first 4 Silent Hill games, I had Silent Hill 1 as like my 3rd favorite out of the first 4 games, and I feel like that's probably still going to be true. I mean, so far the original Silent Hill 2 is for sure my favorite. Oh, actually, last time I remember, the original Silent Hill 2 and 3 were for sure my favorites. I love those games to death. 10 out of 10 all around. While Silent Hill 1 here, I'm feeling more of an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It's still a really fantastic game, but I don't think they really like honed in like the storytelling yet. No, the storytelling's fantastic too. Don't get me wrong. The environmental design, the detail there, the memos you read. It's just like the basic cutscenes I don't think are as engaging as the stuff that's going to come later on in this franchise in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th game. Even though the 4th game honestly kind of adopts a similar style to this first one, like a little bit more detached from the characters, not as emotional, and just very interesting implications with like the magic of the world and like the horror stuff. Like, just like the way like the storytelling in 4 does feel a little bit more similar to the storytelling in 1, but I do think it's still a little bit more honed in 4. I mean, hey, those PS2 graphics go a long way. And Silent Hill 4 maybe would be probably one of the best games in the franchise, maybe the best, if it didn't have that second half which just goes on for so long. That's gonna be for a Silent Hill 4 no damage commentary video, which that's the one I'm dreading. I feel like that may be one of the hardest ones to do, because it seems like the longest one. Because I mean, like all the no damage strategies I see, those videos go on for like 4 to 5 hours, while the ones for Silent Hill 1 and 2 have only gone for 2 to 3 hours. And also, Carcinogen is working on strategies for No Damaging Silent Hill 2 Remake. And that game seems like it's going to be pretty annoying with length too, because the Silent Hill 2 Remake does add on like weird, like little longer sections, which could be a little bit much to deal with. And well, Silent Hill 3, I mean, I hope Silent Hill 3 is a smooth ride. The one thing which worries me about No Damaging Silent Hill 3, which would be the next one I do, my next no damage video is not going to be a Silent Hill one. I'm going to be no damaging some other things in the meantime, but I will be returning to Silent Hill 3. Also, it is interesting that I did the PS3 like digital release of this game instead of emulating per se Silent Hill 1, because if I emulated, I could have made this run in 4K for like 4K, made it like look as good as my Silent Hill 2 video, but I thought I might as well play it on as close to original hardware as I had at the time. I would love to own a copy of the original Silent Hill 1 if it didn't cost like $100, $200. Also, I hear that recording the original Silent Hill 1 is kind of a hassle because the game changes resolutions on the fly on original hardware. Like, the gameplay would be like in 240p, but then you go into a menu and it suddenly switches to 480p, and you have to like set up your capture card in such a way to like handle those sharp shifts. The way Lisa runs away there looks like fucking Haruka in Yakuza 3. I just love that goofy ass animation. I just love these goofy little outtakes. Such a silly thing to put at the end of the game, but like after how oppressive the entire like game was, it is kind of fun that they just kind of like fuck around here. This does feel like pretty Twin Peaks inspired, or maybe sitcom inspired, I don't know. They're doing like a silly little dance, they're like, hey, what's up, what's up? Even though I don't think Twin Peaks ever does like the little character outro like this. They just have their little dance sequences every now and then. And yeah, she gets to do a silly little face, she goes like, yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's a fun way to end the game, and I'm not 100% sure if this music is the one that like, you know, gets the video copyright claimed. And here, Alessa, she's fine. Yeah, she's burned. She's completely burned from like the chest down, but hey, she's doing good. She's doing a little thumbs up here. And then even Dahlia gets to have a little moment there. She's like, oh, she's dancing. She's like trying to feel the vibe, the music. Oh, yeah. And then, oh, what's she doing here? Like, I don't know. None of the future games do a silly little outtakes like this, and that's probably for the best. It's probably best to only be in this first like Silent Hill game, but yeah, it was a fun little addition. I don't know if this is exclusive to getting the good or the bad ending. I'm pretty sure this happens in like any ending you get. It would be kind of funny if it was like locked behind the bestest ending, so like you don't get to have a silly little ending. I mean, hey, even since the first Silent Hill game, there's stuff like the UFO endings and like the silly optional endings. So the series has always had a sense of humor. And boom, we're done. Thank you so much for watching my no damage of the first Silent Hill game. It is a classic. It is a classic masterpiece. There's my rankings. I do like the ranking music here. Do like the ranking music in the second game more, but still, this is good ranking music. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all then for my next no damage video. Peace out.